So what are we talking? Like deep tissue?
I don't really know the difference necessarily.
I think that's what I need.
Yeah.
But...
I think it hurts. It's not
Okay.
like some light thing. It's they're getting in there.
Okay.
And like by the end, like you're sore the next morning.
All right.
Yeah, it's good though. It's like a good kind of thing though. It feels like it's working out like muscles. Like you can tell where like the knots and shit are.
Using any oil or anything?
Yeah.
I think sometimes
I think that's a different type, actually. But
I would assume they would almost always use oil of some kind.
Sometimes on your back.
Rubbing on your dry skin like that usually is not as pleasant.
Sometimes they'll get like a towel and they'll make it super hot, and then they just like lay it all across your back, and all of a sudden it's just shit. But it all feels pretty good.
Okay.
yeah, I've been having a bunch of like X-rays, and I'm supposed to get an MRI, but yeah, my back's super fucked up. So my doctor's like, you should get some physical therapy for sure. And yeah, I'm looking at massage therapy, not the happy ending kind.
I don't know. Is there a difference between massage therapy and just getting a massage?
It's usually like the person giving the massage, the masseuse, if you will, has probably gone through something. You know, like sometimes there'll be people that are like specialists in like sports medicine or something like that.
Right.
That are kind of more focused on that sort of stuff. You know, it's the difference between like, are you going to a masseuse that's just like, I don't know, man, I got a tape here that's just a bunch of chimes.
Okay.
Or are they like, yo, what's hurting on you? Like, what's going on? Oh, your hip is misaligned like this. We need to do this. We need to do this. Like someone who's like in tune with the raw physicality of it versus the like spirituality of it, I guess.
That.
But,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, they're all licensed, right?
I don't know how it works.
I'm pretty sure all
I don't.
masseuses
The
do
one,
a good job.
one massage I got right after we got married, we went to a place and that was the first.
Is it like a
massage.
health spa type?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what they were presenting it as, and not like a scam off the side of the road.
Put some mud on your face.
No, I feel like I talked about this. We submerged ourselves in wood chips for a good long time.
Yeah.
I remember the wood chips.
That doesn't sound pleasant at all.
No, it seemed like a neat idea, but no. And then there was a massage after that, and I was like, oh, this is actually pleasant. But it was pleasant in the way of just like, oh, I guess I might fall asleep. But I think what you're talking about is like, you know, is more of that almost sports medicine style.
Yeah,
like, hey,
I think so.
I am gonna fuck with your shit in a way that's gonna make it
Better
hurt for a while.
Hurt
but
for a while,
better.
but better. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not like intense pain while it's going on. It's just like it feels like that should probably be happening. It feels like
It's like, okay,
I've been sitting weird or something.
I need this. Oh, I need this.
I used to get those in Minnesota, not as frequently as I do now. But like I always hated it when you would find someone that's super duper chatty. And
I don't want to talk during that.
That's the thing. The place I go to now,
Same
there is
thing with
no
haircuts.
talk whatsoever. There's like major like language barrier stuff going on, but you could say like harder or softer or anything like that. But it's just silence. You just lay down, hour, feel great.
I think I as someone who has not gone on to get more massages, but I'm thinking about occasionally maybe doing it. Like I'm fine with chatty. That sounds totally
want
okay.
that.
I'm not there to like relax or just like, oh yeah, like turn up the fucking Tina Malia, you know, like whatever the fuck you got on the boom box. Like let's fucking get down. Like let's get some work done here. I'm not here to drift off to near sleep and relax. Like fucking pound the shit out of my body until it is better.
You're not going to fall asleep with like a serious deep like massage. Like it is painful.
I almost fell asleep getting cavities filled yesterday. So
I envy you.
I
really envy
if that
you
tells
there.
you anything.
Oh man.
Yeah, though they had to.
You were drooling for a while.
I was. Yeah.
Right.
So I had not been to the dentist in a while, and then realized like this is dumb. Like I pay for a dental policy, I should go see a dentist. So I found a good new dentist in town that I like, and started
a nude dentist.
And they started taking care of me.
Oh, I see.
So I had a handful of cavities, but nothing really bothering me except for one tooth that was sensitive to food. Like sometimes I would bite on that side of my mouth, food would hit the right spot, and I go, "Fuck!" Oh,
Yeah.
Food of any temperature?
Yes, yeah, nothing to do with the temperature, just like food would hit a certain spot, and I was like, man, that's gonna be the one tooth. I'll probably need like a root canal, something horrible. They're like, no, it's the X-rays aren't showing anything. So they did that tooth yesterday. And that was the first time I felt anything sitting in that chair. Like in the 3 visits I've gone to, kind of get these cavities taken care of. And so I was like, hey, I can feel that. And they're like, oh, okay, well, we'll really fucking hook you up then. So they get the needle out again, and I stabbed myself with the needle for one, which is
They gave you the needle?
No. No. So I was there with my eyes closed.
I'm not licensed to do this. If you could just do this for
when
me.
they were first trying to hit me up in my mouth, they had me holding my mouth open as much as possible.
Were you on nitrous?
I've got I've got TMJ. So my jaw it's not pleasant to have my mouth open for long periods of time. So at some point they were like, open more. And in the process of that, it hurt real bad. I reflexively kind of went to go like this. And then in bringing my hand up, caught the fucking needle. And that drew blood. Actually, it's fine now.
Did you get numbed up?
Did you have a numb hand?
No, I did. I was hoping that that maybe it would, I'd be like have Novocaine pinky or something like that. Because that's a party right there. But no, it was just unpleasant. And then, whatever. So then they injected the shit out of me to the point where
they don't mess around.
Half my tongue was numb. This whole left side of my face was numb. Like I Skyped in for that meeting. And was just like, yeah, it was
a good time.
It was a real good time. And then I also, because it was first thing in the morning, had not eaten anything. So then I'm like, I'm numb. I'm less numb than I was when they were doing it, but still not better. I'm like, I'm gonna try to eat. Fuck this. And that was, I did not chew the sides of my mouth out any more than I do normally or anything like that. But I couldn't drink a soda.
Yeah, because it kind of dribbles.
Yeah, it was like dribbling out of my mouth. I went and got a straw and then had to use the right side of my mouth, and I was trying to eat a muffin. Was just like it was a real shit show.
Did I ever explain my dental student story? It's the reason I'm missing this molar.
Did you went to a dental student who fucked up?
Is it the one that involves most of your teeth?
Yeah, all my teeth have been super fucked up a million times. I had the tongue bubble. I had all sorts.
You told me one story about all of your teeth that blew my goddamn mind.
That was a childhood thing.
Okay.
No, this one I was in college and I was just eating bags of sunflower seeds every day. And actually, this was related to the childhood dentist. Basically, the guy who filled all my cavities growing up did them wrong and didn't take out all the decay. Mm-hmm. So as I got older, all of my damn teeth basically were just shells with decay had grown out and they were just brittle. And so I bit down.
They were empty teeth.
Basically empty teeth. Yeah, it's got a shell over it, like an eggshell.
Jesus.
And then, hey Drew, and then I was eating sunflower seeds and I was just sitting there reviewing some 360 game. I bit down and my tooth shattered. This molar. And so just bleeding everywhere, tooth parts are coming out of my mouth. And I'm like, oh, I should do something about this. But I didn't have insurance at the time. Oh. So I'm with a bloody mouth. I think I put some cotton or something in there to just stop the bleeding. I'm looking up, what do I do about this? How do I pay for this? And in Kansas City, they had a place where if you go let dental students work on it, it's way cheaper if you don't have insurance. Yeah. So I drove myself to this place in Kansas City.
It's like going to the barber college.
Yeah, basically. Going to Aveda or whatever. Yeah. And so I go there, and they were like, well, we can probably still restore this tooth. There's enough of the root and the base of it. And I was like, that sounds expensive. Let's just get rid of it. It was way cheaper to just yank out the root and everything than repair the tooth.
Which tooth was this? It's oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not...
It's a molar.
Not even all the way back.
Yeah, so in retrospect, I wish I would have just paid the extra $60 or whatever and got a fucking tooth.
Yeah.
Because now it's going to cost me $1,000. I've looked into implants.
$60 for a tooth sounds like a deal.
Yeah, it was like $40 if they just took it out. But these dipshits,
okay, hang on.
Yeah.
So you're saying it was $20 that we were squabbling about here?
I don't remember the specifics, but I mean it was under $100 for sure. Okay. But I mean I'm a college student. I don't have much money.
Yeah.
So
got a lot of teeth, not a lot of money.
Right. Yeah, I can get rid of that. So these dipshits, they're all 22, 23 or something, and they come in. First thing that happens is I sit down and they're like, all right, we got to take a look at the overall structure of your mouth. They wheel the little X-ray thing over and just conk me right in the head with it.
Cool.
Just heavy ass X-ray thing. It was right in my temple.
Yep.
Just, oh, great.
Save
all right.
on, Novocaine and stuff.
Yeah, that's new Novocaine.
Yeah.
That's cheap Novocaine.
Mm-hmm. And so then they decide that, okay, we're just going to take the root out. And the root goes way high up into there. They showed me the X-ray, and I had the shattered, horrible thing protruding from the gum, and then the whole root going up in there. And they're like, all right, well, we just got to try to grip on to whatever we can of what's actually visible. Yeah. So they took pliers, actual pliers. Uh-huh. They gave me a shot.
Yeah.
But they tried to grab on, and they were able to get a grip, but not enough leverage to pull it out. So at one point, this fucking dental kid has to put his foot on the chair for leverage, and he's just pulling as hard as he can. And I'm not feeling pain, but I feel bone coming out of my skull.
Yeah.
It was a terrible, terrible experience. I saved some money, and now I don't have a tooth. And now I really wish I had that tooth back.
This is dangerous. People are going to like pass out while they're driving. We got to edit this or something.
It was bad.
Ugh.
Welcome to the Giant Bombcast.
I don't feel
Tuesday, October the 18th, 2016.
I don't feel good at all about that.
Yeah.
Hello.
I have many more of dental stories. I won't even touch the tongue bubble thing.
So what happened
to
the rest of the empty teeth, though?
They're terrible, and they all needed to get replaced. Like I've got crowns on pretty much all my molars right now, which led to the tongue bubble situation was actually worse than any of that stuff.
All
Which I should tell that someday. Did you know me during the tongue bubble days?
I
got pictures.
Those I may
Halcyon
have
tongue bubble days.
out that story.
During the old Overblood Super Replay,
Yeah,
I got
salad
back from
days.
one of my surgeries, and you can tell by the way I'm talking, I just can't even like move my tongue. It's several surgeries. It's great.
Let's keep a dental story or two in reserve.
Yeah.
What do you say?
I got plenty.
Let's not burn through all of them today.
I ended up not going to the dentist for a while because my dentist was the dentist I had. I think he got busted for tax evasion or something.
Nice.
I don't remember what the exact story
That's
was,
smart.
but
That's smart business.
so I just didn't see a dentist for a good long time. I didn't have one, and then finally I was like, I'm gonna go find one, and got a recommendation from a friend who lived in town, and went and I was expecting it to be just like, your mouth is a nightmare. Congratulations, dumbass. But instead they were like, for a decade, there's like 6 or 7 cavities that are all pretty minor. Like you did all right.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, good. I guess the fucking electric sonic toothbrush did okay.
It could have been a lot worse.
Yes, it could have been a lot worse. That's yes, but that's
There could have been pliers involved.
yeah.
I've had the pliers too. That took me back.
My childhood dentist broke somebody's jaw
on purpose
during a root canal. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah,
I
probably
didn't
had it coming.
I never
Wouldn't
saw
pay
that.
up.
I never saw that dentist again.
Okay.
Yeah?
Fuck.
You good? You feeling all right over there?
I'm actually a little lightheaded.
He's got a weird little tooth phobia thing going
Yeah.
on.
It's a little warm in here.
Yeah.
Anytime you need to fill
Now.
time, I've got all sorts of horrible
Yeah,
medical stories.
I believe it.
I wasn't kidding. Like I've got a similar story to that where they had to get leverage and pull stuff. Yeah.
Bad having some flashbacks.
That was fucking terrible.
Nobody likes the dentist.
That guy in there.
Apologies to all dentists, but
You go to a sedation dentist. They just knock you
Yeah.
the fuck out. You wake up, you're done.
My dentists are all super nice people. They seem really good. I don't mind going there at all.
no, I'm not
It's
saying
been-
they're bad people.
yeah.
I'm saying nobody
Yeah.
enjoys the process of going
yeah,
through
yeah.
any of that work.
The last dentist I had she was super nice. She would like offer Valium and
Yeah,
stuff.
my
It's like,
current dentist is awesome too. Like
Yeah.
it's nothing against the people in the dental practice.
they're super aware of like my phobias and like just pain management and stuff. That's the best, and they're not too chatty.
I used to see a cosmetic dentist here in downtown that I think Ryan actually turned me on to, who was incredibly liberal with the laughing gas.
Oh,
I've never had that.
Like he would just literally offer nitrous for anything he was possibly doing.
Huh.
I can see why Ryan might turn you on to that. Okay,
Also, I mean, this was like 10 years ago, but they also had like office iPods that they would slip on you
weird.
Sweet.
with like Pink Floyd on them. And
Oh
stuff.
yeah, I would always rock it to like Steve Miller Band.
Yeah, they would
It's like,
literally
fuck
like give you
yeah.
nitrous and let you listen to some like trippy
My
psychedelia.
child dentist had posters on the ceiling of Dr. Teeth and the like Muppets and other stuff like that, so you could at least stare up at that while it was happening. That's about it.
some inspirational
Yeah.
signage.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on to a happier topic.
Oh.
Like, I don't know. What's happier? The dentist. Give me something.
I don't have to.
War 4.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
How is it? Did you finish it?
Yeah, I did.
You finished
Yeah,
it?
the review's up on
Yep.
the site. It's good. It does not come together as well as I had hoped.
It sounded so promising.
Yeah, there's some really
The last
cool.
time.
There are some amazing moments in there, and even just like near the end of the game, there's a sequence, like a gameplay sequence, that is hilarious and kind of awesome, but mostly hilarious. And then it ends like the game just doesn't really give you any closure or anything like that. Like it's really just like, here you go, the first entry in a new trilogy or saga.
Okay.
So it's kind of all set up.
They got to stop doing that.
Yeah,
Like,
it feels like 2/3 of a game.
Yeah,
in a way.
like, can you not tell a nice, complete story and also set up a
Right.
sequel? Like, come on.
yeah.
I mean, when it's like the Halo 4
Yeah.
scenario.
right.
Well, Halo 5 is
oh.
the same way. Like, they
Yeah,
both.
but like they knew they were going to make 4, 5, and 6,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they don't need to
Right.
complete a story.
Yeah, like the new Halo
They'll
trilogy.
complete it at the
yeah,
end.
Totally. They've done that twice now, and
Yeah.
it's a bummer to see these guys.
Yeah,
doing
like
it too.
Gears 4 kind of hey, you meet your objective, you do the thing that you were trying to do, but there's clearly way more going on, and they don't really explain what that is, I guess, too well.
Wasn't
You're
Gears
welcome
1
to check
kind of the
out
same way,
horde
though?
mode or competitive multiplayer.
Yeah. Well, Gears 1...
Gears 1 actually had like an antagonist. You killed General Rom or whatever
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah,
I mean, the locusts aren't gone,
Well,
but Rom's dead.
there kind of isn't really a like main antagonist in this series yet.
Okay.
Not quite. So they don't really build up. They just kind of build up to like, some shit, but not really like, here's this big set piece battle against here's the real struggle you're on. So it's not really clear. It's not really fully clear where they go from here. So yeah, I don't know. It's more just like, here are some interesting things that I would like to see them touch upon in the next game. But I really enjoyed it. Like it's got some, like I said last time we talked about it a couple weeks ago, like it has some really, really, really strong moments in it in that campaign. And like I said, the stuff that happens near the end of that game, just gameplay wise, is ridiculous and beautiful in how ridiculous it is. So I appreciated that
in a good way, in a so bad it's good kind
no,
of like
it's just like you just look at it and go like, oh, that's cool. Oh wait, this is fucking insane. Okay, all right, sure, of course. It's
all right.
It's pretty funny.
Does it like lack of closure notwithstanding? Does it justify itself?
Yeah,
does it
totally.
justify
Like,
there being a new Gears of War game?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's maybe like. I really like the game. I think it looks great. Like all the the multiplayer stuff is good. It's what you expect it to be. All that sort of stuff. But yeah, like maybe the most impressive part about it is that they find really good reasons for there to be a Gears of War 4.
Okay.
And really good reasons for them to pick up with this new cast of characters all these years later. Really good reasons to reintroduce characters from the previous Gears games. Really good moments involving those characters. Like there's just like a lot of that stuff's really smart. I think a lot of the dialogue is really good. It's like it's less like meat-headed fucking macho gung-ho than that first trilogy was.
Okay.
And
in a self-aware kind of way?
Slightly more. It's like they tilt the self-awareness over just enough to where you're like, all right,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
I'm into it. I'm way into
just
this.
enough to tell you they're in on the joke.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
At least that's how I interpreted it. In
all right.
In conclusion, but yeah, I wish the campaign had a little more going on. Just a little bit more closure, I think, would have really gone a long way there. But whatever, they set the stage. They create new characters that are good and
they've been
well
really
written,
interesting
and
so far.
it's. I liked it quite a bit, even if the gameplay does just really settle into just like, it's some Gears about halfway through. I wish that.
I think that's all I need, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good Gears of War game. Nothing more, nothing less.
That's good to hear. Like, not to keep harping on the Halo comparison, although I do think they're pretty comparable. But
I mean,
like,
they went and built a studio devoted to it. They
Yeah.
renamed it the same way they did 343. Like, they're clearly
it's
trying
the
to draw those
same
comparisons.
trajectory. But like, yeah, like even 2 games into this new Halo trilogy, I'm not like 100% sold on the fact that they brought it back. It's like,
Yeah.
on the one hand, you're kind of bummed out about how much Covenant you're fighting, but on the other hand, like, you're not quite sold on the new guys either. Like, it sounds like this game handles that stuff better.
I mean,
Hopefully.
it does. It's more just that I wish that they spent more time with the new guys and less time with the things that are just basically like the stand-ins for the Covenant.
Okay.
There are enemies in the midpoint of that game where it's just literally becomes like emergence holes, just called something slightly different.
Okay.
They talk about the swarm instead of the horde. It's like they really. And whatever, there's storyline reasons for all that, and like the story stuff, I think they set up a lot of good stuff around it. It's more just, and there are new enemies that require new tactics, and there's some like gruesome fucking weird fights in there that I think are pretty good. It's just that the bulk of it starts like at a slightly different pace, where the robots are kind of dropping in at a different clip than you expect the Locust from the old Gears games, where it's just like big, gigantic, 20-sided dice-looking pods drop out of the sky and fucking robots spring out of them ready to fucking fight.
All right.
And you're like, yeah. And you see planes flying over, dropping fucking 8 more. And you're like, fuck, man, this is nuts. But then it, like a few hours into the game, it's like, oh, I see a big poof of smoke in the distance. That's a hole opening up. I should probably throw a grenade in there. And it just becomes that again.
Actually close them with grenades again?
Totally, yeah. They're
All right.
nests.
Okay.
Nests, totally different thing. So like stuff like that. I wish that they had just. It feels a little safe. Like I think there's room for like a more ambitious departure from Gears in there. And it sounds like that at one point they were thinking maybe a little bit along those lines and kind of like maybe skated back into some safer territory. So that's the stuff that I look at and go like, this is fine. Like, because I like Gears of War, like this, a good Gears of War campaign is still valuable to me. But when I look at the things that are different about it, I wish there was more of that and less of the kind of classic, tried and true Gears stuff.
Sure.
Because the new stuff is good. And competitive multiplayer is what it is. It's not going to change anybody's mind one way or the other. You're kind of either in on that or you're not.
What platform have you been playing that on? Because
this
is super anecdotal, but like
it seems like if you want to actually play with people, you need to play the Xbox One version.
That's what I saw. Some forum posters say.
At least in competitive, horde mode matches cross-platform, co-op matches cross-platform, but the competitive stuff is limited.
Yeah.
I wish that they would just actually just draw the line and say like, hey, we're gonna have a toggle in here. They'll probably have to do this if they want the PC version to be viable as a multiplayer game. Just add a toggle that says, hey, when you launch this, we're gonna disable the keyboard, and you have to play with a controller. If they want to maintain that sanctity or whatever, that seems like that would do it.
I wonder if there are too many ways around that, like too many ways to backdoor that on the PC.
You hook up some other USB thing, X input, map
shit to your keyboard or whatever.
I guess.
Fool it somehow.
But
then again, who cares that much about like
if you're even emulating an analog stick on a mouse doesn't feel the same. Yeah. So I think you probably could. It would just be like all those weird fucking hacky things that you hook up a mouse and keyboard to a console and control it. It's like, oh, we got this weird adapter that lets you just plug this shit in, and it never works the way you think it should. But like, yo, man, it's really good. And you're like, you guys are lying.
But yeah, I did see some people saying like, yeah, I'd searched and searched and searched for certain competitive match types on PC and just never could find a game.
Yeah, that's
unfortunate.
That seems like it is a legitimate issue. So I wonder what they'll do to address that if they do end up just going like, fuck it, just here, just But if they want to maintain that sanctity of just control input stuff, they could just disable the keyboard. I think that would be a fine solution. I mean, I played through that game with a controller anyway. It feels like Gears. Well, yeah, totally. But you can play it with a mouse and keyboard. Yeah. Like it's playable, but I totally don't want to. Like Gears of War to me is like a 1,000% a controller game, and playing with mouse and keyboard it felt a little clunky, felt a little off. It's just not what I'm looking for. You want analog movement.
Yeah,
or at least I do.
Sure.
So I think that's valuable. Horde mode's good. Some of their microtransaction stuff I think is really fucked up.
In Horde mode in particular?
So you get cards that are applied as bounties for versus mode, but primarily this stuff is for Horde mode, where you're getting cards that you can level up. So it'll be like you have classes in Horde mode now. So you can be a soldier, a heavy, and you'll get like, oh, I've got a turret bonus because I picked heavy. But also you can equip cards to a loadout that are sometimes class specific, sometimes general. And those are more like, oh, well, I get 20% to my active reload bonus. It's only in Horde mode. It's not like it's, upsetting the competitive balance or anything like that.
Sure.
But then the amount of grinding you have to do to earn a blind box of additional packs of bounties, because, you kind of need duplicates of the same card to level it up. So it can go from like 10% active reload to 20% active reload, The act of earning those blind boxes and the way the difficulty ramps up in Horde mode seems to be such that you want those advanced level cards. You want to level up in Horde mode so you can equip more cards.
Oh.
And all of that stuff is really slow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
All of that stuff is slow in a way that like goes beyond the.
You start thinking maybe I could give him $5 to get another.
It starts to feel like that they just biased it in favor of like, yo, you should spend some money on this. And
can you just buy specifically the cards you need?
No.
Oh, you still can only buy like blind packs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there are multiple qualities of packs. So if you want to pay $5 for a box, you can get those, and those also the characters and skins are locked up in that too. Remember, like Judgment and Gears 3 had like fucking $100 skin pack downloads or whatever it was. I remember $75.
I remember that Tiger Stripe Lancer skin.
It was sweet. So now you get those skins out of these packs also. So maybe the money equals out if you're the type of lunatic that would spend $100 on
all the skins.
A skin pack or something like that.
So this is the only thing to spend money on is blind boxes?
Yeah. The maps are all free.
Yeah.
So,
you can like destroy cards and get scrap.
Right. And so then you can craft it. So that's the process is if you get a bunch of duplicates that you're not going to merge into themselves.
Wait, do you get dupes?
Yeah. Shit. Because you want to level up. You need dupes to level up.
Oh, God. Yeah. Gotcha.
So, but if you end up with dupes that you then no longer need or they're cards you're not going to use or whatever, you can turn them into scrap. And this would go for like skins and characters too. And then
you get dupes of skins?
I believe so.
Oh, my God.
I believe you can.
Hope not, man.
And then you can, because you can scrap those, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you can.
so you can then turn that into salvage and use that to craft specific cards.
Oh.
So that is the only way to get specific cards.
That's not terrible. I thought you were going to say craft more blind boxes.
But the thing is that the numbers line up, and I think they've already dropped the price on some of the packs. I think maybe they realized that they've kind of screwed this up, but that stuff is a little extreme. And it's it's not the end of the world really, because like horde mode is still fun to do, even if you get to a point where it's really tough and you might need to level up and stuff like that. Like just the act of going through it, I think, is still enjoyable.
And they did just have like a double XP weekend, so it looks like they're going to be doing something.
But I don't think XP is not what you're looking for. It's credits.
No. Yeah, I suppose, but the more XP gets you more
card slots.
slots. But.
So that stuff seems off in a way that it probably needs to be rebalanced, just in terms of how much currency you earn, how much the packs cost. Like some aspect of that needs to be tweaked in a way that it just feels like you're saving up for like an elite pack forever, and then at the end of that process you get a bunch of shit that turns out you don't need, and the salvage is not enough to get what you do want, and there's just a lot of opportunities for disappointment around that whole system in a way that I think that they could have done better.
I think you're right.
But overall, I think it's an awesome looking game. The weather effects and stuff like that show up in the PC version specifically, but still looks good on Xbox. There's some really fucking cool moments in that game. It's good.
A number. I'm into that game.
Yeah, this is generally all better than I expected to hear about this game, which
same here.
Maybe doesn't sound very flattering, but
I mean, it's
the fourth game.
It is, yeah.
Or, technically the fifth.
Sure. I think they set the stage for a new set of these games, and they've done well at kind of bringing back Gears and making it feel like relevant and modern and current and vital in a way. The Judgment certainly did not.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds like the nicest thing you could say.
Yeah.
About something that's this many entries in.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, they've like relevant. Whatever team they've built over there. I think there were a lot of people that were just like, "Oh, new team. Who knows?" I think that they have done a good job of maintaining the Gears franchise and bringing it back in a way that in better shape than I think a lot of people thought.
Excellent.
Even if that microtransaction stuff is a little funky.
Yeah. Play anything else?
Yeah.
No.
But I've also been playing Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, that beta.
Oh, right. How did that thing go? Because it was kind of a mess.
It was rough
on Friday.
So it was a mess on Saturday as well. They extended it out a day into Monday. So I played a couple of matches yesterday. It seems like Black Ops 3. Like it's got a lot of the same
non-committal hand
stuff
wave
and a lot of the stuff that I didn't really like about the movement in Black Ops 3 is just here again, like wall running in maps that you don't need to wall run in, and wall running that feels weird because sometimes surfaces are not marked as wall runnable. So if it's got a door on it, you can't necessarily wall run above the door in some cases, and just like weird stuff where you're able to just get outside the map a little too often in some of them. So you're just getting, it's giving you the pop-up of like, hey, you're going to die if you don't get back in here. But it's like, I just jumped over a waist-high wall. Like, I should be able to hide over here and shoot people. Like, fuck you. This is weirdly designed. But, they have the same kind of ability type stuff. Like, you're building up a meter that then gives you an ability, like double guns or another gun.
So it's not the like hero thing from Black Ops, but it's basically
that.
Yeah,
it's basically that. It's just not attached to specific character models. Actually, it totally is. It's because it's a rig.
Rig.
But it's the rig you equip doesn't necessarily feel like a whole new person the way it did in Black Ops 3.
Does it change your look at all?
It does. Yeah, because like the robot will have 3 different abilities than like the human-looking character, but also you will unlock cosmetics for all of those things that'll be like, oh, here's a new helmet for my human-looking rig.
So wait, the rigs will be exclusive to whether you're a human or a robot or what character?
One of the rigs is a robot, and one of the rigs is a human, and there's another one that's the human. There's a sniper rig. Combat rigs are basically the equivalent of characters.
But it's not like I picked a human character and I can use these 3 rigs, or I picked the robot and I can use these 3.
The human character is the rig.
Okay, the rig determines what you...
The basic silhouette. And then there's cosmetic stuff on top of that. Like you can have different helmets for that rig, different chest pieces for that rig. And then there are abilities that equip exclusively to that rig. And that's like something that doesn't really change. Like you also build loadouts of what guns you're carrying and all that other stuff. And so you can't really change your rig as easily as you can change your loadout. Like in mid-match, you're kind of stuck to that rig. But then you can still have like, oh, well, I've got my LMG class and I've got my assault rifle class and shotgun or whatever.
But can you still switch between like classes that you've created, like in between deaths?
That's exactly what I just said.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not that you just
I can't
do the
fault
rig.
him if he couldn't keep up with all of that.
Outside of the match, you can then change your rig or what bonuses or what items or abilities you have equipped on the rig.
Okay.
And then they've got crafting and all that other stuff too. For like you get salvage there too. And you are turning that into variants of the weapons. You know, they did Advanced Warfare even had some of that stuff where you're kind of opening boxes to get new calling cards and camos and also like, hey, you've got this rare variant of this weapon that reloads slightly faster than the common variant and all that sort of stuff. The difference is that now it looks like you can look at every single one of those variants and know exactly how many points you need to craft each single one in the event that you don't get it out of a box.
So they still have that like supply drop, supply box type thing.
You're still earning keys and spending 30 keys on a box, and it's got all that same shit.
I have to assume that like whoever oversees this franchise, like above the like developer to developer level, like the brain trust of Call of Duty or whatever, like there has to be some pressure coming from that group for ideas in one iteration to like kind of continue. Like you said, the wall running is back, and all this loot stuff and everything. Like they kind of have to bring these things over, right? I feel like
for years I've been saying they needed to get their shit together and like unite behind one style and kind of keep advancing forward. I just feel like they picked the exact wrong year to finally do that. You know, so I don't really know. Yeah, but the kind of larger, this just feels like a lot of the ability set stuff of the previous game. So it's knee slides and double jumps and boost jumps, but no Advanced Warfare side boosts, which is what I miss most of all.
Sure.
From that game, I think that's the stuff that made that game stand out to me is that type of movement, and that's not there. So
the robots are here.
The robots are here to stay, baby.
Man, that robot I saw on that loadout screen on Friday is a robot-ass robot.
Yeah, it's chappy.
Like.
It is pretty much chappy.
It kind of looked like a piece of construction machinery or something. Like they're not even trying to make it look like a dude.
Robots shouldn't look like dudes.
No, I know. I'm with you, but like,
except for the quartermaster, where you go spend your keys because it's the upper torso of a robot that looks kind of like a dude
on a crane
attached to this fucking crane that comes up and quips at you, and you're like, what is even happening? Also, in this thing, they've got a guy. Just some soldier guy who he's constantly talking to you. Like I don't, maybe he factors into the single player campaign or something, but he's just some dude who's always like, all right, get some R&R. When you back out of a menu, like when you're like done playing for a while, he says, all right, take 5, get some, come back when you're ready. He's always like, you unlock some more stuff, soldier. And it's just like, I don't fucking need that guy there at all. It's silly that he's there, but also kind don't awesome.
What if it was Christopher Maroney?
Cool.
Yeah,
be okay?
Christopher Maloney. Is
it Maloney? I thought it was Maroney.
No, it is not Maroney.
Do they have a celebrity?
I don't
star
know if they have. They haven't announced it.
Yes, they do. Breaking news: it's Formula One world champion Lewis Hamilton.
I saw that being tweeted.
That's not a celebrity.
Maybe not to your American eyes.
Oh,
Dan.
I'm sorry. Who is it again?
Lewis Hamilton.
Lewis Hamilton. Okay.
Yes.
He's
a race man.
That's
all
cool.
Right, okay. I liked what I saw of their campaign at E3, and I feel like I'm maybe the only one person who did like it because I feel like there's been people just talking a lot of shit about that thing.
Yeah,
and I think that stuff looks interesting, and I would like to see where it goes.
And it's gonna have PSVR stuff, right?
Isn't it?
Didn't they say that at E3?
No. That was the big point of confusion in that press conference.
Because
they went from a VR montage to the Infinite Warfare
that's
clip.
What it was.
And then I think that at Call of Duty XP they did say, oh, by the way, that really was it does have VR.
Really?
Oh, so it does.
But I want to say it's just
the
that
cockpit.
mission?
It's just the space cockpit stuff. It
seems
like a mini Eve Valkyrie or something. I guess I don't know. And that's my guess about how that'll go, but I don't know for sure. Yeah.
After seeing, this is kind of a random poll, but after seeing that DLC in the new Tomb Raider on PS4 and how that translates to VR, like I'm suddenly a little more skeptical about how. I think
these
the idea games that are,
like
when they offer, like it's.
I think the idea of like cramming a small VR experience into your full non VR game, I just think it's kind of lame.
Well, I mean, if nothing else, it can come off as disingenuous because people see that and think like, "Oh shit, I'm going to get to play Tomb Raider or Call of Duty in VR," but like, it's not going to just be that. That game doesn't necessarily just work in VR.
Totally.
Like they may have come up with some much like more slight thing that kind of captures some of that.
Did you ever play through a full FPS with the Move? I did that with Killzone 3.
I'm trying to think what supported the move.
Killzone 3 had it, and that was the nav controller,
Okay.
and because I bought the nav controller for that. And I remember that being surprisingly okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That was fine. I don't know if I would do it again. I just wanted to try it and just say I did a whole campaign with motion control.
I think I just started playing that campaign that way just to see how it went, and at some point was just like, what the fuck am I doing?
It's not the best way, but I mean, it worked.
It worked.
Yeah.
Did you have like the gun attachment, or did you just use?
No, I
controllers?
didn't. I don't think I did the sharpshooter thing. I think I did.
And then the sharpshooter thing was also, there was a SOCOM. Like the last SOCOM game used that as well.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then now, like, dude with SOCOM roots is making that Waypoint game. Or
Farpoint.
That will use basically the sharpshooter. They made a whole new controller that is just a fully assembled sharpshooter, which seems fucking insane. I bet you can probably still use the shell if you have it, but the idea that they're going out of their way to make a full new controller just for currently one PSVR game, maybe they'll announce more, but that just seems like a questionable way to go.
I just remembered the Wii Zapper. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
When the
Link's
Wii was
crossbow
announced,
training, and
it was the thing that came down and you put the Wiimote in it. It was made by Nintendo.
It was called the Zapper?
Yeah, it was the Wii Zapper is what they called it. And the nunchuck would go into the base, and so you'd have the analog stick there.
It was the exact same thing.
Yeah, but it was a really awkward looking and feeling gun
How was he going to play the conduit?
That's true, yeah.
Or Link's crossbow training.
Or Medal of Honor
packed
Heroes.
in with it, you know?
Yeah. Or Medal of Honor Heroes was supposed to be the game that made the Wii the destination FPS console.
I thought that was the conduit.
I think that was also built up quite a bit. Because that had all the like dead zone stuff. It's like, oh, you can go in, you can tweak everything to your liking, you can set all these, the frame that
I'm gonna tweak it to use a regular controller. Can I do that? No, yes, no.
Well, Medal of Honor people were excited about because it had online multiplayer.
Because they were Medal of Honor people and they take what they can get.
Yeah.
God, when was that? Like
2007?
I guess that was like right at the tail end of Medal of Honor stuff, right?
Yeah, before they rebooted it with Beards in Tier 1.
Well,
yeah.
We don't talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
I will be very interested to see how that Call of Duty launch goes, just based on the weird simmering resentment for it that seems to exist out of nowhere.
I am
like, where did that come from?
Like I said, I am interested in the campaign in that game. I think their 80s zombie thing is like at least more interesting looking than the other zombie stuff, but it's still a zombie thing, so I don't really care. And
I just kind of don't get it. I mean, like, I feel like every single step of the way since they unveiled the first trailer for that game, it's been nothing but like shit talking and Schadenfreude. And people are just like looking for reasons to dump on that game.
I feel like that stuff's weird, but
like
at
even
the same
when it came down to that like weird like YouTube dislike war with Battlefield and stuff like that, like it's just it's been strange.
It's been really weird. I think there's a growing segment of Call of Duty players that just don't necessarily want space and they want stuff that's a little more grounded or what. I don't know. I don't know that they know what they want actually, because I think if you gave them a game that was more grounded, I think they'd be like, okay, that's cool. It's boring. There's not enough going on here. But
I think Advanced Warfare towed that line well. I mean, it felt like it was set in kind of near future with some cool like kind of future tech stuff. And then I think Black Ops 2 is where it lost me. Like I've looked forward to Black Ops 3. That's where it lost me. I've looked forward to Call of Duty every year. I've been a fan of the series from the beginning, and Black Ops 3 was the first one that I was like,
it was like campaign really wise, or just the multiplayer
everything.
Stuff? Or,
I didn't like the campaign. I didn't like the multiplayer. I mean, it's fine. It plays, it controls well. It's Call of Duty. It's snappy. It's fun. It's fast. But I just didn't like the setting.
I feel like the multiplayer was just kind of a step back from Advanced Warfare, and like they're kind of the character stuff just seemed like this attempt to kind of bring almost like MOBA-esque abilities and matchups and stuff like that into the game, and I just don't think that's an interesting direction for them to go in. So.
In campaign-wise, like I've actually kind of been more of a campaign guy historically. Well, I like them both, but I always play through the campaign before I even touch multiplayer.
Yeah.
And I loved what Sledgehammer did with Advanced Warfare, like bringing Spacey in, like he was really good.
Yeah,
I thought the story was well done. I like the setting.
There are cool moments in that game.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of configuring your loadout, like some of the options you had in that game were neat and meaningful. That was a pretty good campaign.
Yeah,
some good gadget focused stealth missions. Like it just kind of did a little bit of everything.
But I don't know. For me, it's like for me it was this feeling of just like, well, like now it really is just kind of, in case it wasn't clear before, it does really seem like Treyarch is running the show. Now that you have the Infinity Ward game coming out, that is just, well, we've got a zombies mode too.
Yeah.
And we're kind of aping a lot of the multiplayer stuff that was in Treyarch's last game. Like you just go like, oh, okay, all right. I mean, I guess that makes sense.
It didn't even occur to me that this is an Infinity Ward game with a zombies mode in it. Like, wow, that's what a like changing of the guard.
Yeah.
And I liked Black Ops 1 and 2 a lot, but I kind of liked how it was this weird, like, had some like Cold War stuff like in the past, and the future stuff was pretty cool too. And all
that was creative. Like,
campaign for your assassinating Castro or whatever.
Black Ops 3 campaign is creative. Not
in the way I like though.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And you gotta give it something for that.
I like the historical type stuff though, like the missions that would have like Castro and stuff, or even like the zombie stuff and JFK.
Yeah, like Black Ops 1 is awesome. It is one of, if not the high watermark for that whole series. You know, like I mean, Treyarch earned its fucking stripes for sure, man. That game's fucking awesome. I think Black Ops 2 is really fucking close in a lot of ways, but there was some stuff about like just the campaign branching stuff was really neat, but it didn't quite go as far as it could have. Those weird missions on the multiplayer maps were just broken at launch.
Those sounded cool.
Yeah, it was a cool idea, but like they just didn't work right. Black Ops 2 was hyper ambitious for Call of Duty, and then to see like the next I guess was it Modern Warfare 3 the year after that?
I feel like Modern Warfare 3 was before Black Ops?
Or was
2?
Ghosts after that?
Ghost was after that.
So to see them go from like Black Ops 2 being this like really ambitious and kind of crazy game where they were like, oh, we're finally doing some shit with the campaign. Fuck it. It branches. It's weird. Like to see them go places across the board on that game. And then next year's game was the game that was just like, oh, here's another standard ass campaign.
Just the safest ass.
It was like, okay, you're just like going right back to, okay, well, why are we, that was the moment where it's like, man, they need to build off of the previous game.
Yeah. I remember I had to write
and now they're doing that, but it's like they're kind of building off the stuff that I didn't necessarily enjoy about last year.
I mean, if I were the guy tasked with deciding where to take Call of Duty next, like with the pace of releases that they have to meet, I would be sweating bullets because I like you said, like it can't stay the same because people will get bored of it.
Call of Duty Primal.
All right. Okay.
Shoot some dinosaurs.
I would.
Maybe ride a dinosaur.
I'm very interested to see what next year's game is like.
Right.
I guess.
Right.
You know, if that's Sledgehammer's next swing at it.
Yeah.
Like Advanced Warfare was fucking killer.
Yeah.
I'd love to see what they do, but I wonder if at this point, if that game is just going to build off of Infinite Warfare. You know,
right?
Like the multiplayer and that sort of stuff.
They broke the seal on going future, right?
Yeah.
Like they were the first ones to be set in the future. I guess was kind of getting there.
Yeah.
That was the first game that really.
Black Ops 2 was.
Right. I guess there as well. But like Advanced Warfare is the one where they really integrated future tech into the gameplay.
Right? Black Ops 2 had a decent amount of that.
They had a lot of
like.
I guess they've been going that way for a while. But like the seal's been broken, and now they just have to keep like topping themselves, right? Or they have to go full Battlefield and be like, all right, we're going back a century now because we've gone as far forward as we can go.
I think that I haven't played Battlefield 1 since that first closed beta or whatever, but we'll see how it goes or whatever. But I think that they did a very smart thing ultimately. Like I was super skeptical with that game when they were just like, we're doing World War One. It's like, dude, no, you're not. You can't get away with that. It'll be too weird. It'll be too hard to go back to. I mean, and granted, it sounds like they cut a lot of corners. There are a lot of automatic weapons in that multiplayer. There are a whole lot of them.
Sure.
So you've got options that don't necessarily make it feel like you're fucking bolt action all the time.
It's
and all
not exactly trench warfare from the sound
right.
of it.
Yeah, so they were smart about that stuff. Like, hey, we still need to make a video game that people will want to play in 2016 and beyond. So they didn't necessarily go too far on that stuff. And I think that's smart, because it leaves you in this position with Battlefield where now you go like, well, I don't know what the fuck they'll do after this.
Yeah,
that's a good place to be.
Yeah, like they could do anything,
and it's like it seems like a position of strength in a lot of ways.
Yeah, right.
Whereas like I feel kind of the same way about Call of Duty, but in more of a I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do next time.
Same question, like very different tone.
Right? Yeah. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe that campaign, like I said, that campaign looked cool for Call of Duty. I think that. The idea of just like, yo, this jet's going to land and you're going to fly into space and fight in space. And like that stuff could be fun.
Yeah.
Whether it's diversionary in nature or whether it's like full on missions that have you doing that stuff. I think they've done well with variety over the years in those campaigns. Even if it is just something that fucking half the players don't even touch.
Yeah.
Because they just want to shoot other humans in the face.
Well, we'll find out soon. Shooter season is upon us.
Yeah, it really is.
Week after week, shooters are coming out.
Titanfall's out next week.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I think Call of Duty's the week after?
Yeah.
Is that right? It's fucking 2 weeks?
Yeah, Call of Duty's or Titanfall's at the 28th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Weird off release date.
Yeah.
It's like Friday or something like that.
At some point, it's like, you wonder, like, okay, well, they have to separate it as much as they can
Yeah.
from Battlefield because they don't want to cannibalize themselves too much, but it needs to come out before Call of Duty.
Sure.
I don't know.
Man, imagine if they were also still shipping Mass Effect this fall.
Right.
That would have been a pack. Yeah. Hell of a slate.
Mm-hmm.
That's it for you?
Yes. I think so.
Yes.
That you can talk about, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's everything. There's I'm trying to think if there's anything. I played like the opening moments of Mafia 3.
Okay.
And I think that looks really strong.
Yeah, it totally does. We talked a little bit about the opening last week.
It seems really neat, but at the same time, there's just something I don't find myself drawn into it at all.
I missed out on the Mafia series completely. This is my first one that I played, and I didn't know how.
So I played 1 and 2 and didn't
like.
like them.
Oh,
so
really? Okay.
I kind of came at it from just like, okay, like Mafia 1 was like really a cool idea of just like, hey, you should drive the speed limit. Like all that stuff is fucking crazy.
Some people were way into that.
It's really great that they did it. Like it was always the thing you thought with Grand Theft Auto was like, man, what if the cops were like really fucking cops and enforced the law? And then it turns out like that's a neat like
it's a novel thing.
Most people don't want to play that.
Doesn't necessarily. Yeah, totally. It was, and some people got way into that restriction.
Like it's almost a simulation of something
whatever.
at that point.
Right. And Mafia 2, whatever. That game.
Yeah.
I was all right with that one.
Did you like that?
I beat that one, yeah.
I did too. I appreciated what they were trying to do with it, but
it's like a solid 7.5 to me. I think.
Okay.
It's good, not great.
I think I gave it a 3 out of 5, so I guess that roughly lines up.
Yeah.
Just that world was like, it was so like meticulously designed and then utterly meaningless. Like they did nothing with that open world. It was just a thing for you to drive through from mission to mission.
Yeah.
With like no side activities, but I don't know.
Unless you like hearing characters talking to themselves.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot of open world hijinks to be had. You just have to make your own fun with Mafia 2.
That is true.
I don't know. Like just the way they're telling their story with the flashback style and stuff like that is really enticing.
Yeah.
But there's something about the idea of like, hey, here's an open world game. Like I'm just not in the mood for it right this minute.
Really?
I don't know.
I feel like it's been a while.
It has,
like,
but
what was the last like
Grand Theft
really
Auto,
big?
right?
That was ages ago.
Yeah, I know.
Like I don't even know.
I'm in the mood for a specific open world game, but we'll probably get to that later.
All right, now my curiosity has peaked, but we have to take a break.
Seriously?
Maybe not.
What do you think I'm talking about?
We'll be back.
Watch Dogs, right? You played some of that.
Oh, yeah.
Time to take a quick break here and talk about the bluest aprons on the block.
What makes it blue?
What makes it blue?
Yeah.
It's reflecting the ocean's water.
Oh,
yeah.
That sounds peaceful.
Yeah. And you'll have some peace of mind when you're getting food in the mail from Blue Apron.
Man, that's easy going.
Yeah.
Food coming right to my door.
That's right. Quality food. Not all ingredients are created equal. These are fresh, high-quality ingredients that taste better and are better for you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Better than what?
Better than probably the swill that you're putting in yourself. Blue Apron will send you things and you will learn how to cook along the way because they send you the ingredients and easy assembly instructions.
What's cooking?
And you can put up cooking is when you cooking is when you get the food in and you prepare it.
Okay.
It builds strong family bonds.
I'm going to be like a food architect.
Blue Apron there's research that says that Blue Apron families cook nearly 3 times more often. What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
Sounds like the family that cooks together.
Cooks together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, and you can get all that for under $10 a person per meal.
That's reasonable.
Seasonal recipes, pre-portioned ingredients to make those meals. You can get stuff like in October here, now that we're in the month of October. The fall, crispy chicken Milanese with warm Brussels sprouts, celery, and potato salad.
That sounds like a fall recipe.
Yeah. Roasted pork steamed buns.
Pork buns.
With black garlic mayonnaise and spicy cabbage slaw. If I knew how to make pork buns, I would never leave the house.
Who could say no to a pork bun?
Exactly. You can check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals for free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/bombcast. Check it out. See how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron. That's
pork buns in the mail, man.
Pork buns in the mail. They're going to mail you pork buns?
What a time we live in.
Make the future now at blueapron.com/bombcast. Blue Apron, a better way to pork bun.
Dan, we'll get to your open world fantasies later.
I know.
But it's time to live in the now.
Okay.
It's time to talk about what's current, what's hot.
Yeah. Halo 2.
Halo 2.
I beat it last night.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Which actually, did they add something to the end of that for the anniversary edition?
I don't know.
Because it ended with finish the fight credits originally, right? Like, I'm going to finish the fight. Credits. Nothing afterwards. No stinger.
He's like flying away on a triangular spaceship.
Yeah, and like somebody like Keys or someone's like, oh, what are you doing on that ship? And he's like, I'm finishing the fight. And then it went to
I think
credits
so.
afterwards.
And then
in this one, now like the space squid is talking to Cortana afterwards, and it's like, hey, come here, I want to show you something. And she's like, okay. Like, and I don't remember that scene.
yeah, that was. I think that was there.
So was that like a
In the
fix
original.
for like, oh, sorry, it was just that before, and now we'll add this.
I mean,
to
there was such an outcry. I wouldn't be surprised if they did add something.
No,
but
I remember distinctly asking Frank O'Connor when they were talking about the anniversary edition stuff for the first time. I was like, "So you think you're gonna do anything to the ending of Halo 2?" He was like, "Yeah, we're putting Halo 3 on the disc also." So
there's the ending.
yeah,
Okay.
There's the 12-hour ending.
Yeah, I'll have to look back and see if they actually had that in the original one. But yeah,
Pretty sure they did.
I'll move on to 3 probably after I go through Gears. I haven't started that yet. Beat Paper Mario, so I can stop talking about that. Review is on the site.
Okay.
If you have heard the last couple weeks of Bombcast, the review should mirror a lot of that.
Yes.
Landed on a 2 for that. Yeah.
Game of the year.
Imminently
Yeah.
Is what I'm hearing.
Oh, it's so good at times. God damn it.
You've posted some stuff in like our Slack, some really funny stuff. Like it seems like there's some really cool moments going on.
Yes,
But-
it's almost worth playing through just for the right. That's hard to say because I would have stopped playing through it if I wasn't reviewing it. I would have stopped a few hours in. Yeah, it's a bummer. It really is. Somebody
it
should just
sucks
make a
that
super
it's-
cut on YouTube of like everything but the combat. So yeah, reviews on the site if you want to read the the full details of it. But it's a huge bummer beginning to end. So yeah, that.
Sorry, man.
Paper Mario, Halo 2. I watched Con Air.
Okay.
Not great.
Wait, first time?
I don't think it,
No. I saw it back when it came out, and I was super excited. Which, by the way, it came out the same month as Face Off.
Yeah.
That is a hell of a month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, there's a
June
lot
'97.
that was the window for a lot of great stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people, myself included, until rewatching this, saw the 96, 97 Cage movies as like this trilogy of The Rock, Con Air, and Face Off, and they're all great. Now that I've watched all 3 of those this year again, Con Air is nowhere near that conversation. It is a good, cheesy, it's an all right, cheesy action movie.
See, around my circles, it was always The Rock and Con Air, and then Face Off was very much its own thing. Because
It's so different.
It's kind of a Travolta movie.
Oh,
ways,
I
too.
don't know.
Like there's
I think there's equal Travolta and Cage going on.
It's very different from The Rock and Con Air, which I think those are kind of two sides of a similar coin.
They're more
in a lot of
traditional
ways.
Hollywood
Yeah,
Action movies,
yeah.
whereas the
Face
woo
Off
factor.
Face Off is out there doing
Yeah.
its own thing. I like Con Air, but yeah, it definitely. I mean, it's not the fucking Rock. That's for sure.
It's just every character is the most 2D action movie archetype,
Yeah.
like Malkovich, but like in a lame
As
way.
opposed to the
Malkovich.
depth of
I
The
forgot he's
Rock.
in that.
Yeah, Malkovich, Steve Buscemi, Ving Rhames, Danny Trejo, like Dave Chappelle. Like
solid lineup.
the casting is good,
Yeah.
for sure. You got John Cusack on the ground.
He's good.
Wearing a way too big suit.
Yeah.
And Cage is funny because his accent's terrible and he looks stupid. But it's,
Wait, what accent is he doing?
He went to Alabama before making the movie to try because he really wanted to nail the accent, and boy does he.
I think he's the least interesting character in that whole movie, though. I mean, like
There's really no
he's kind of going through it.
interesting characters in it.
I like all the characters just enough.
How the hell did he become the preeminent action star of the late 90s? Like, what?
Did you see those movies? That's how.
But I'm saying, what led up to that? Like, where
The
did
Rock.
Where did that? No,
The
well,
Rock.
that's part of. Like, The Rock is part of this.
Yeah.
The Rock was the starting point because
what
before he
was-
was in quirky comedies
Right.
and like Academy Award stuff, like Leaving Las Vegas.
And the Rock was, he was a quirky character
Yeah.
in The Rock that got
Yes.
thrust into an action situation, and then it suddenly touched off on like, oh, all right, you're good looking enough and built enough, like lift some more, like a few more weights, and let's fucking go.
right.
Let's make money.
One day you will be Ghost Rider.
And then they're gonna
Yeah.
have to laser those muscles off for Face Off because he needs to be flabby like Sean Archer. Yeah.
A body can do that.
Oh yeah. Wow. So yeah, basically, Con Air is not as good as I think people like to think it is in retrospect. But yeah, game wise, just kind of been playing the old stuff.
Okay.
Messed around with a puzzle game on Steam called Super Puzzle Sisters that kind of billed itself as Tetris Battle Gaiden mixed with Super Puzzle Fighter.
Okay.
Which sounds great.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I played a bit of that, and it's not. Let's put it this way: there are like 9,000 typos all over the game. It's that level of like production
I don't give a
on
shit.
it. I know, like the gameplay is
the-
not that great.
Okay,
either.
all
It's just I'm just saying it's indicative of the overall level of production.
I would prefer a lot of typos on a game like that, to be honest.
It doesn't play that well.
Okay.
It's you can do 4-player local and everything, but I just from what I played single player, it's not that great.
Ah, man.
But yeah, right now I'm just kind of clearing my schedule for Gears and Battlefield and Titanfall. So yeah, I got Paper Mario off my back now.
It's the season of games. Didn't play any more Mafia?
No. I don't know if I'm going to keep going with that. I played like a match of WWE 2K17.
Did you?
Yeah, I did Razor Ramon versus Diesel.
Okay. Wow.
I gave him the Razor's Edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shawn Michaels was at ringside.
Finally, you can do that.
I mean, there are little improvements, but they are so minor that it does not change the conversation of that game. It's still bad.
Still one of those.
Sure is.
Yeah.
And it's, what, the thing in, like I said with Call of Duty campaigns, the thing I usually did with these, the recent years of WWE games is I played through like, oh, here's the Stone Cold career. Here's the, the WrestleMania look back.
Reliving these real moments.
Yeah, I like that
sort of
because
stuff.
just as a wrestling history dork, I like going back like, oh, right. Oh, yeah. I forgot about this
I
moment.
feel like the
or
thing
this
that really changed, though, is that they've leaned so far into wrestling history dork stuff on their streaming service that the idea of having to do it in a video game now, like, you don't just go watch that
as
stuff.
someone who watches the
point,
network all the time.
As someone who watched WrestleMania 20 over the weekend, I can tell you don't need to play a video game to see bad fucking wrestling matches.
Yeah. And as someone who watched Raw last night and just saw like 80 Goldberg retrospectives, like if you want to be nostalgic about wrestling, there are outlets for that right now.
Stuff you don't need a video game for that.
Yeah,
especially one that bad.
Yeah, but I mean that was the thing that I did play in years past, and now that's gone. And like I understand the reasoning behind it, but still it kind of takes away one of the few things I like doing.
The reasoning, I assume, being they sell just as many copies no matter how much work they do.
Well, I think the company line was that we're going to take all these resources that we put towards this thing that is for 1 year, for one game. And what if we took all those resources and put them towards gameplay improvements that go for But the thing is, that logic's kind of flawed when the gameplay isn't improved.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
Sure. It's slightly better playing, but it feels a little snappier than kind of the boggy stuff from the last couple years.
They don't have the, just put the story creator back in. I would buy that. I would have bought that game if it had the story creator and the story sharing stuff of the game of the year that Ghost Problems was created. If it just had that story creator, like if they'd put the resources towards like that and building that up, I would buy that game every year.
It seems like each year they're getting closer to kind of like that full creation suite or whatever, because 15, the first one on new consoles, was the one where they kind of cut out all that shit.
Yeah.
Like it's bare bones character creator, no arena stuff, none of that. And now it's like you're seeing all those side things like making your video or making the arenas and
maddened
things like that. Yeah. But so who knows? Maybe they'll get back to story stuff now that they've had a few years to get established on these consoles. But
yeah, it's about time, right?
Yeah,
This is the fourth holiday that these consoles have been out.
Yeah,
like it's time to start adding that stuff back in.
They're still very far from the wrestling game I want to play, which I think the wrestling game I want to play is different than the one that Jeff describes a lot. But I think the one they have now is not making either of us happy. So I'd love for it to be great.
Oh, sure.
It's my two favorite things: wrestling and video games. But
typically love for everything to be great.
Yeah, right. Let's make everything great.
Let's make video games great again.
No.
Okay.
That's
Jason.
Don't do it.
I already voted. My vote has been mailed off, so we can't. There's no point. Do not talk about the election.
It's
already over.
It is so much easier to vote by mail. I did it for the first time this year.
Mm.
I always used to wait in line at a damn elementary school
shit.
or a post office or wherever the bus.
doing.
Are there lines?
I had to wait outside for the 2012 election. I had to wait outside in like Minnesota cold in November. And like this, you don't even have to fill in a circle. You connect an arrow and then send it in.
I've never had
the
to wait.
easiest thing in the world.
I've never had to wait at
Really?
my polling
I've always
place.
had to wait.
As long as I have lived where I live, I have just walked right in and immediately been handed the thing and like out of there in less than 5 minutes.
I've never voted at a polling place.
Really?
I've always done vote by mail, and like I'm kind of interested in seeing what a polling place even looks like.
It's
'cause
weird.
I don't think I've ever. been in one.
mine's in the church.
Yeah, I've gone to churches, schools, or fire departments.
Do you flip
I mean,
switches?
No.
What do you do?
It was a computer screen when I went.
I want to really.
Yeah.
No kidding.
I think so. In
I
Minnesota.
want to say I did.
Diebold
I
machine.
think they had something. Yeah, I think they had something mechanical in North Carolina when I still lived there. But here it's a gigantic piece of like it's almost cardboardy. It's like a super thick paper. And yeah, you connect. It's almost like an old school like SAT.
Yeah, that's what the vote by
But
mail
it's not
was.
filling in the
It's
bubble.
It's like
It's an
Scantron.
arrow.
Yeah.
On mine, it was a rectangle. It's just like fill in this rectangle. And
I guess different counties or different cities. Or
Yeah,
something.
it's all handled locally. But yeah,
Okay.
you feed that it's like this tall, and you feed it into a machine, and it just counts it instantly. I think.
Huh.
It's weird that it's so varied by county and state.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think
Interesting.
there are probably lines because I always try to do it before I went to work in the morning. So if I'm going at like 8 in the morning or something, that's probably when everyone's trying to get their vote in or whatever.
I mean, I think that is a crucial part of maintaining the integrity of the process, right? Is not having it centralized, not having one authority overseeing everything. Distributing the authority as widely as possible.
But the means, just like whether you're filling out cards or you're doing it on a computer screen or something.
It's probably just like each county and how much money they've got to upgrade, and like all that sort of stuff. Just it gets expensive, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
as long as the tallies are coming in accurately.
I feel like eventually it'd open a weird can of worms, but like vote over the internet seems like the thing that they should probably get to.
That's scary.
Way too many ways to defraud that.
I've seen
too many
some-
security concerns.
Some meme-ish type things going on, where it's like, vote for Hillary on Twitter or something like that, with like hashtags.
Yes, I saw that image floating around this
really?
morning. It was like they vote for internet now. Just like tweet with the hashtag.
That is not a thing.
Hillary
That is not a
something
thing.
on November 8th, and your vote will be like,
Who would fall for that?
People are pretty fucking dumb.
Yeah.
There are some pretty dumb fucking people out there.
That's a lot of gullibility
That's
on social media.
amazingly dumb, though.
Whatever. I mean,
Hashtag.
every new iPhone that comes out, like now it doesn't matter, but every iPhone that would come out, there would be the image circulating of now it's waterproof. Like stick it in your toilet.
Or I don't know how many times a year I see like my mom or my sister post something on Facebook of like Mark Zuckerberg wants to give all of his billions away to Facebook users.
Right,
Just repost this and like it.
And people do that dumb shit all the time.
Constantly, yeah.
That was the thing this time around was people going like, they still have the headphone jack in there. You just got to drill one in yourself.
Yep.
Like that's
just got to expose it.
Beautiful.
Yep.
I think that's I think that's incredible.
Setting aside all the gullibility, though, there was a thing on the news this morning about like Russia's desire to influence this election extending well beyond like hacked emails into like if voting by internet were a thing, like they would be all over it.
I'm saying, obviously I'm not saying like flip the switch today, let's go. There's a lot that would have to happen just around the security of the internet and establishing your identity on the internet.
As of right now, their appraisal was like, it's a lot easier to just have these freestanding non-internet connected voting machines.
Yeah.
Then you just can't
sneakernet your votes over there. Just bring it on a USB stick. Plug it in.
Just NFC it.
Yeah. Bring your voting amiibo. Bring the amiibo of the candidate you intend to vote for.
Oh, God, no.
Wait, when is the Waluigi amiibo out?
I believe it's November. So,
okay.
Sounds great.
Dan will be voting for Wario before this is all over.
Yeah.
I've got my pre-orders in for Boo and Waluigi.
2 garlics in every pot.
Jason, what are you playing?
A lot of the same stuff that we already talked about.
God Eater.
I'm gonna say fucking God Eater.
Did I see you had a sword that looked like a candy bar?
That was
Fucking
pretty
A,
cool.
I did. Yeah. G posted something from Destiny. You got a kick-ass sword, and I'm like, well, motherfucker, I can make a candy bar.
All right.
Sword. It looks pretty awesome, by the way.
The best part is that sword he posted was from the last expansion.
Oh, really? Yeah. And he just got it.
Yeah.
Poor guy. But no, I'm still playing. Like I feel like I'm nearing the end of this. Like there's 15 difficulty levels. I'm on difficulty level 12. They're still throwing mechanics on top of me. In particular, the blood rage mode, which is really fucking neat. So what you do is you set a pledge with your god arc, right? I'm gonna kill that monster, and then you can choose like bonuses. It's like, okay, if I perform a devour, I'm gonna get 10% more time. Time to do what, you ask? Turn into this big fucking winged dude. You get unlimited fucking stamina, so you can zip around the screen, and you are invincible. But the kicker is that they play J-Rock the entire time that you're doing it. So it's like Power Ranger music while you're just fucking destroying this monster. It's
like
pretty awesome.
Dynasty Warriors? Like that type of music?
Not exactly.
No. Is that not J-Rock?
There's lyrics and shit.
Oh,
to it
okay,
as well.
okay.
So yeah, it's super badass. It's actually a really good feeling, when you're getting your ass kicked by this monster, and you've built up a meter, and you pull off this blood rage thing to just like chase him around the screen, be completely invincible. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that sounds all right.
But yeah, they still keep layering stuff on, and I'm actually surprised like how adept I'm getting at it, because it's like I've got an attack string, right? And I can actually cancel into like other things like a devour or Oracle Reserve. None of this is making any sense to you.
Oracle Reserve, of course. Just devour it naturally.
Smile and nod politely.
Yeah, it's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And the combat is like super satisfying.
I'm glad there's an alternative out there for people. looking
and
for
it's a
Monster
really
Hunter style stuff.
I think it's a really, really cool alternative. You know, I likened it to like, you know, Super Turbo of like Monster Hunter last week.
Okay.
But I think it's actually more
I think it looks way more enticing and interesting than Monster Hunter ever has.
I mean, just by virtue of being on a console, I would agree with that.
That is one thing. It's actually really sad though, because you know it starts off really, really slow, and you know those mechanics and the need to do any of those cancels that I talked about, you know, is really not necessary for even, you know, the first part of the game. And I'm talking about like God Eater 2. So they've got the expansion as well. So even like halfway through that, you could just mash and just like be okay with that, and that's going to be pretty boring to people. But once you start getting to the much, much higher difficulty levels, man, that fucking combat is so good. I don't know why I keep playing it, but
did you like the game, man?
Yeah.
You don't have to apologize for it.
Yeah, I guess not. It seems like I have to, because you're like, don't talk about God Eater.
You got mad. Just giving you shit.
Thanks.
You got mad at me last week for not attaching God Eater to the podcast.
You guys talked about fucking Black Ops and Call of Duties for like 2 hours.
Just like, people just come to expect it at this point.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I like that game.
Also,
but yeah, Gears is really good.
Okay.
That's really about it though. Yeah. Like I really want to finish up God Eater before I move on to other stuff. I'm getting close.
It does sound all-consuming.
Yeah, it's sunk its teeth into me for sure.
Speaking of Japanese rock, that brief encounter we had with Larkin Seal on Thursday.
Yeah.
Kind of got me a little primed
for
some of that, but that was not wholly satisfying.
I guess there might be slightly more to that.
Is
if
there
you let
more?
It go. I don't know. Have you played with any PlayStation VR stuff since then?
No, I wanted to this weekend and totally didn't have
so
time.
I
and we
played
gotta send that headset to New York now.
I played through Job Simulator and
Okay.
got that is, if you want the easiest platinum trophy on a PlayStation 4, that has to be it. That almost has to be it.
Huh. I'm almost surprised that it has a platinum then.
Yeah,
because they
they
typically
seem,
have like
Rez doesn't have one. I don't think. Oh no, Rez does.
I think Rez
what was
does.
I looking at? There was
so Batman Arkham VR was a notable one where it actually has a trophy for get all the trophies, but it's a gold trophy.
Right. Yeah.
So they seem to be pretty strict about like
but Job Simulator has one, and that game is maybe 2 hours.
Jeez.
Or 2.5 or something.
All right. I got some work to do before I ship that headset off.
Yeah, so I ended up playing a bunch of that, and I almost fell out of my window at one point. Almost punched my window.
Right.
It had me like the center, like it has you stand on a certain spot on the floor, and the center just kept moving and moving closer and closer to the window as I played more and more of it.
It's got it out for you, Jeff.
Yeah, basically, like the thing was trying to kill me.
Just lead you at the.
And then also like the way that game has a lot of stuff taking place behind you. Like there are a lot of parts of that game where you are doing things and you're blocking the controllers with your body.
Oh no!
So it's just like your hand just stops and you're like,
that was super frustrating because it tracks the headset well enough when you turn.
Yeah,
like it can pretty much do 360 on the headset, but obviously the controllers, if your body is between the controller and the camera, like just forget it.
And I had a ton of tracking issues on top of that. You know, so it seems like there's definitely some credence to the notion that like, if your PlayStation 4 goes into rest mode and you are doing VR stuff out of rest mode, the tracking is worse.
I saw a lot of that on like Reddit places.
Yeah, that is something that we heard a little bit before that stream. And
what do you do in that case?
Just reboot it.
Cold boot.
Okay. So I cold booted that PS4 before we did that stream.
Yeah.
On the 13th, launch day, whatever it was, that Thursday. Right. And then in the middle of that, we even like when I had to reset it, like I shut all the way down and powered back up. And that just doesn't seem like it solves 100% of the issues that are out there. So it seems like there's still some other stuff going on with that stuff. But if people are having issues, that is an easy first step to try to get that thing back in shape.
I will.
And that'll help some people, I think.
Once I get one. If I get one.
Are you?
I don't know.
Yeah,
they're everywhere.
Yeah.
This thing that was supposedly like tight supply and going to be hard to find. Like I searched on Sunday, went to Best Buy and said like, show me all the Best Buys around me. And like everything. Single one had it in stock almost. Yeah. So like Amazon had it, not the bundle that comes with the camera and the Move controllers, but just the headset.
That's the $400
Yeah, the $400 version. So you would still need to get that stuff if you didn't have it.
The bundle's 6?
The bundle's 5.
5, okay.
A lot of places are selling it at 6.
Yeah. Now that that's been hard to find, like you're starting to see it for more.
Gross.
Because
you could buy all that stuff piecemeal for less than
no.
Can you not?
Try and get Move controller.
Move. So
I thought it was just 2 moves and a camera.
The bundle also includes PlayStation VR Worlds.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that's like $40.
I don't know that I would call that essential.
No, it's not. But at the same time, even the camera alone is $60, and 2 controllers are not $40. So buying those 3 items separately, though. I
forgot the camera was that much, because I mean you see the camera, maybe it's gone back up, but for the longest time, like you could regularly get that camera for like $40.
Yeah. Maybe the camera is $40 and the controllers are more. One or the other, but basically. But Best Buy had a thing where if you bought all 3 items at once, it actually was $500. So you wouldn't get that copy of the game, but you were still getting a discount on the separate price for a lot of that stuff. And if you have Move controllers from PS3 that still hold a battery charge, then you're set on that stuff at least. But
I'm kind of bummed I got rid of my Move controllers.
Are the new ones still micro USB?
No,
or no,
they were
sorry,
never
mini
USB.
They're
They are
PS3
mini.
USB.
They are mini.
They're the
Okay, they're
bigger
still
ones.
okay.
Yeah.
They're exactly the
They're
same.
exactly the same.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, smash and grab.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll get to that.
Okay, I killed it.
Yeah,
I'm
good
sorry.
job,
Way to
Jason.
go.
Sit
Nice
on
going.
that one for a few minutes here.
Sorry,
Everyone was having a
guys.
good time.
While I ask Drew what he's been playing,
Hi.
if anything.
Played about the first hour of Gears.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And all of Abzu.
all of that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's
What'd
about
you
a
think?
2-hour game.
Yeah.
There we
I
go.
liked it a lot.
Yeah. It's good.
I mean, Underwater Journey. That's what that game is.
Yeah. Not to be reductive, but yes.
I mean, but in all of the good ways.
Okay.
I had some weird camera movement problems.
Mhm.
Not big, and not enough to make me not recommend it. But I mean, if you are into that kind of game, it's one of those, and it's a really good one.
Did you do it in one sitting?
Yeah.
Okay. Which version?
PS4.
Okay.
PS4.
Yeah, that one's not bad. Like it.
Yeah, especially if like me. So I've been looking for a good underwater scuba diving marine life game for a long time.
That
Went on
isn't like
holiday. You could have been playing it all along. PlayStation 1. It's all right there.
There you go.
That game is really good for that.
Yeah,
Like,
and
surprisingly.
I think what I was looking for, I didn't actually want. Like I think I wanted like a simulation game where you're actually controlling your buoyancy and
Sure.
maybe like a Pokemon Snap kind of thing where you were taking pictures and stuff. I don't think I actually want that. What I actually wanted was something like this that just rekindles, or it makes me remember what I love about doing that stuff and about sea life in the ocean. And
Like
stuff.
they clearly have a lot of respect for that, like for marine science or whatever. Like they, the species names are available for everything, and like I assume everything is to scale and looks correct and stuff. But it's also like it's still an art piece, like it still evokes some reverie as you're like kind of swooping around in
There's
the water.
some,
And
yeah,
stuff.
some
It's
like
just,
magical looking moments.
yeah, it's absolutely it's slightly surreal, but,
Right.
but it's also got that kind of groundedness to it.
It's also got like it's a simple story, but it's a good one.
Yeah, it's effective.
It doesn't really show itself until halfway or 75% of the way through the game.
There's
but
a certain moment
yeah,
that I won't bring up because it's not really a spoiler, but it's the closest thing that game has to a spoiler.
there are a couple things in there
Yeah, and
that I
it's-
would want for people to experience.
and it's only been out for a few months, but yeah, I will talk to you later.
Yeah, but
There's one thing that happens that I just thought was really cool.
got it for $20. It's 2 hours long,
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
I mean make that if you're into that
Yeah.
for that amount of money. I really liked it.
Yeah, for that type of game, it's really well done.
Yeah.
Aquanaut's Holiday was an Art Dink production, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Tale of the Sun People.
Yeah.
Mm.
The A-Train folks.
A-Train?
A-Train.
I don't think I've played A-Train.
Is a professional wrestler?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. He's a trainer now, actually. Yeah.
No, the long-running A-Train series has been on all types of platforms.
That's
and
Art Dink?
It's a train simulator type thing.
Okay. I'm just a Tale of the Sun enthusiast, so yeah.
More of a Densha Dego man myself.
Sure. Yeah. Who
Thank
isn't?
you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I've had a bunch of stuff going on. Unfortunately, didn't have a lot of time to play games, but the little bit of spare time I have had keeps getting sucked into Dragon Quest Builders somehow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I keep seeing you playing that. I'm excited.
I
about
keep
that.
thinking about buying that game.
Yeah, well, I keep leaving it on is half the
Oh,
reason.
gotcha.
Like I just finished the first chapter, but it could be like one of my favorite games of the year if like let's say 3 or 4 of like 8 things were better about it that drive me up the fucking wall. Like the interface has got so many oversights that make it like way more clumsy and like kind of klutzy to deal with than it should, and like the combat is super mashy, and when a bunch of enemies stack up on top of you, like you get stun locked a ton, and like that's no fun. The way it handles its challenges is really crappy because like
What are the challenges?
so you can't even, unless you go on the internet and look for a guide, you can't even see what the challenges are until you've finished a chapter.
Okay.
But one of the challenges in each chapter is like speedrun the chapter, like finish it in a certain number of in-game days.
Yeah.
And you don't know what that number is unless you go look it up.
So you would just like get a pop-up notification
point,
saying,
so
"Hey,
at the
you
end
did that."
of the chapter,
like,
you would see like,
"Oh,
wow, I certainly didn't finish that in the allotted time at all."
Oh, gotcha.
And I mean, that's it's trophies if you care that much.
I mean, not
getting
really.
all the challenges. It's just trophies, but at that point, you would have to play through the entire chapter again, which is a several-hour commitment.
But there's really no other benefit to completing the
I
challenges?
don't think so. I just finished chapter 1,
Gotcha.
which I like ended up starting over to get that speedrun challenge. Which is, but the point is, like, that's the absolute last way you want to play that game is by rushing through it, because you basically have to do every story quest as fast as you can to hit that time limit, and all you really want to do is just like mindlessly go grind like cubes of earth and like build up your town and make it look cool. And you just can't do it if you're trying to get all those challenges. But I mean, whatever. It's a pretty minor part.
Do you
of
have
it.
an option to like replay that level?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
so it retains all the challenges at like kind of the system save level.
Oh, sure.
So you can reload saves and do stuff. It's not the end of the world, but and then the way it's broken up in the chapters, like you finish a chapter and then you leave everything behind. You don't take any items with you or
Really?
anything.
You could just go to a whole new location.
Yeah, it's a
and
whole new
kinda start
location.
over?
They're not geographically connected. You can't warp between them. Like
So
you
you get-
literally start each chapter with like nothing. You don't even keep like the health upgrades that you got in the previous chapter.
Whoa.
Weird. What?
Like they tell you when you're about to finish the chapter, like, hey, just so you know, the items and strength and everything that you've gathered here will stay here.
That
Like,
kind of sucks, man. I just spent hours fucking
Right.
building up this town
Right.
and like doing quests for people.
It's
And
the antithesis of what you expect out of
Yeah.
a game like that. Is
like,
like,
you expect it to be a big sprawling.
hey,
open
I
world.
want to show you my town,
Right.
But
Yeah.
I left it behind. So,
There is a way to share
go back,
creations, but it's only in like a free build mode that unlocks after you beat the first chapter, and it's a totally separate space from any of the story-driven stuff.
But then
So there are no monsters there, and you can just kind of build whatever you feel like, and then share that stuff out.
Oh well, if there's
on
no
the
monster,
internet.
then that's less interesting.
But it's
you
not-
kind of want like a survival mode, like a Minecraft
Yeah.
survival, and
Right.
not like the creative, right?
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
treat it more like a free build. Without you can actively spawn monsters into that mode if you want a reason to fight some
okay.
off, like test defenses or whatever. But they don't like
Yeah.
show up in an ambient way. It's still a really cool game, but there are like so many little things about it that it's like if you had just changed this and this and this
Yeah.
and this and this and this, it would be really good.
Yeah.
But as it is, like apparently it was huge in Japan, so
Right.
Good.
could see it maybe getting like a much improved sequel, hopefully. Also, apparently it's a sequel to the first Dragon Quest.
Right.
Ever?
Yeah, like it's
Which I didn't
there's
know
a
last
reference
week.
to the character name
Yeah,
and all that other stuff. Right?
yeah. So like they mentioned
Erdrick or
Erdrick.
whatever. Yeah, Erdrick,
They mentioned Erdrick. Like you see the Dragon Lord at the beginning of the game, and all, I've like vaguely remembered through like 30 years or whatever it is since that game came out. Like I was like, I kind of remember that stuff. What's up with that? And like, yeah, it's totally a sequel to the alternate ending of the first game. If you took the bad ending of the first game,
Wow.
which
It's kind of cool.
one of the comments on the quick look said if you took that bad ending, it ended the game and then deleted your save. I don't know if that's actually true or not. That sounds insane.
Wow.
I did not verify that independently.
I don't remember.
But basically, he makes
I
you
don't
an
know that
offer.
I ever got the bad ending.
I
yeah.
don't think I ever quite finished that game.
Oh,
but
it makes you an offer at the end.
he
and
makes you an offer. He's like, hey, we could split.
Right.
We will share the kingdom. We can each rule half of the kingdom if you just come with me.
Yeah.
And then you say yes, and then he actually just banishes you to some tomb, and then you're dead.
Jerk.
So that's why you wake up in a little tomb at the beginning of this game, and everybody has forgotten how to build because
That's kind of neat.
it's a neat
that
little
is
connected
cool.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool,
Yeah.
but
Love that look, man.
it's got. If you have an item that you can use selected in your hotbar, the frame rate is way worse. People figured that out on forums, and I was like, "Fucking what?" Because it was stuttering a lot,
Right.
Weird.
like really stuttering. And I was like, "What is going on with this thing?" And then I saw somewhere like if you just select an item that you can't actively use, like a building material or whatever, it gets way smoother. It's a weird game, but it's really cool.
Well, see if they make any changes to it, or but I guess it's been out in Japan for a while, so this is stuff that they would have probably fixed by now if they were going to.
It's been out for quite a while. All right, that's the games we've been playing. We should move into the news, of which there is some, not a ton, because games are coming out. But Rockstar did us the favor after 2 days of social media teases.
Pretty obvious social media teases.
Yeah, I mean whatever.
For a game that had leaked a bunch already.
Yeah.
I mean, but they had clearly been building up to an announcement, and they did us the favor of just going ahead and announcing it this morning so we could talk about it. Red Dead Redemption 2
Yeah.
is the name of the new Red Dead game.
That's a good name.
Yeah.
I will
Gets the
here.
point
I'll
across.
just go through the bullet points real fast. They are currently saying fall 2017. Currently,
Okay.
we'll see
Yeah, we'll see.
based on their track record of hitting release dates.
Take their time. That's fine.
Only announced for PS4 and Xbox One as of now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Which is certainly
not a big surprise.
Certainly sent sectors of the internet into a tizzy.
Really?
But GTA 5 was only announced for current consoles at launch.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it came out on 360 and PS3.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Then
current.
Then the only consoles that were out. That's kind of it. Well, they talk. Here's the 2 sentences. Red Dead Redemption 2 is an epic tale of life in America's unforgiving heartland. The game's vast and atmospheric world will also...
modern day.
The game's vast and atmospheric world will also provide the foundation for a brand new online multiplayer experience. So,
I hope that's a separate thing.
I'm sure it will be a separate. Well,
unless
you never know.
Hey, they could incorporate it in some cool way into the open world. Which
they made so much damn money off of GTA.
But yeah, GTA Online is such a fucking cash cow. Like to this day, I checked yesterday, GTA 5 was still in the top 10 concurrent players games on Steam.
I never went back to that online stuff.
Yeah,
when it launched, I played a little bit.
When it launched, it was a mess.
Yeah,
I'm
it barely worked.
Get press releases all the time about
we got more jobs and bikes. I don't know.
Yeah,
they're constantly. They're still working on that thing.
Yeah. Man, something that integrated into the single player would be cool though.
If they did it in a cool way.
Test Drive Unlimited, but cowboys.
What was that? What was that free roam posse kind of mode?
Yeah, you could get 8 people together, or 6 people, and ride around, and there were some activities you could do. I think you could go after bounties and stuff, but everything in the multiplayer, if I remember right, was just a totally separate instance of the main world.
You're right.
Yeah, I didn't spend too much time.
It would be really cool if they could incorporate player controlled outlaw bands or something into the single player. I don't know.
So you're in the middle of doing a mission and just a bunch of real people just ride up and rob you.
That could maybe be a little bit.
Yeah, that's when GTA Online got going. It just became anytime you're trying to do something, it was some dicks riding by just fucking murdering.
Well, obviously you'd have to let people opt out of that.
Yeah,
if they didn't want to deal with that stuff.
I don't want to deal with that stuff at all. I want I want a narrative experience.
Maybe it would be things like when you go into a saloon or something and you sit down to play poker, it just kind of matches you with people. Maybe
the entirety of the online mode is just poker.
Well, no, they would have a separate multiplayer deathmatch, whatever the fuck they want to do. But then certain things in the world that they bring in to the campaign, maybe like poker or games or whatever, liar's dice.
I am really bummed that it's called Red Dead Redemption 2.
Why?
Because
it's Red Dead Revolution, or
it is the. I don't give a shit. I don't give 2 shits about there being 2 other games and that this should be 3. And I could not care less about that. But I'm talking about
that should have a cooler subtitle.
Yeah.
Or something.
So yesterday, some people started poking around in the source code of their website and found a bunch of other names in there, such as Red Dead Retribution, Red Dead Revenge, Red Dead Rebellion.
Okay.
I think it would it just feels like the safest, most marketing focused title that you could possibly come up with. It's just take the thing that sold 14 million copies or whatever last time and slap a 2 on it.
Brand recognition.
Right. It's just.
But I think they wouldn't have lost brand recognition if it was called Red Dead Rebellion.
I agree.
That sort of stuff would have been maintained.
And and
it would also, I think that would be. I'm sure no one fucking actually cares, but that would be a better way to honor the fact that there are multiple games in this franchise already.
I agree.
That it's not just the second game.
It's called Red Dead Recognition.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Red Dead brand recognition.
Yeah.
Which I stole from Twitter. The Redemption kind of played pretty well into the story of the last game. That's what the character was looking for. So, but then that leads you to the question of what the hell is this? When is it set? And who is in it?
There was a lot of talk that this was going to be a prequel.
That's what the rumors had been saying.
Which that's where slapping a 2 on it really fucking.
So that seems
sucks.
That would really be confusing, and also I don't want a prequel. I don't need prequels period at this point.
My hope is
they almost never turn out to be a young
Yeah, I just hope they do the GTA thing. Hey, new protagonist, new story.
Yeah,
it can be set in the same world. You can do the little cameo things a young John Marston came through here.
Yeah, totally. Have him, cameo in one mission would be totally fine.
It's like how they've always done that with GTA, where the nameless or Claude or whatever from 3 pops up.
Sure.
And then doesn't the guy from the Lost and Damned just brutally die right at the beginning of 5?
Yes.
Yeah, Trevor, the intro to Trevor is him murdering a protagonist.
Right.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So messed up.
I remember people being really angry about that. He was one of the best characters. I can't
That's
believe
hilarious though. Just instantly kill him.
Was that Johnny something?
Johnny
Klebitz or something like that?
Yes, Klebitz.
Okay.
Yeah. Just terribly killed on the side of the road.
Yeah. Like that would be fine. Like I could totally get over the name if it was a completely different thing. But
I think I could get over anything as far as like narrative, like because to me, like I love the story of Red Dead Redemption. I thought Marston was a really cool character. If it is just a prequel with Marston, I'll be a little disappointed because I want new stuff.
Yep.
But when it comes down to it, the thing that was so great about Red Dead to me was that world and just the amount of stuff you could do in it. And just give me some fucking cowboy and some guns and let me go around and do Old West shit. I'd rather it not be Marston, but I'd still probably love it if it was.
Yeah, like I will totally play it regardless, but like I'm with you. I would be a little disappointed. I mean, like I saw these comments this morning. It was just like, well, so people have been picking apart that art, like looking at those silhouettes because there's seven characters?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you have to really zoom in. Like it's kind of hard to tell.
And people going like, oh, that's obviously Marston, that's Dutch, that's so and so, you know. And a lot of people seem like super excited about like, oh, now we get to see what their gang was like and see where everything came from. It's like, yeah, I don't need that backstory, and like I think you kind of do the previous work a disservice by like trying to slavishly explain everything that happened like that.
Sure.
When has that ever worked out?
Oh, Star Wars.
Clearly, yes. Yeah. Also, The Hobbit.
Oh,
all
people don't like those, do they?
Highly revered prequel material. Like it just like
I'm trying to think of one that actually did work really well, like a movie or a game. Like I thought Reach was pretty good.
Yeah,
Halo Reach.
Yeah. But even there,
it was unnecessary. But
even
it was
there,
good.
it was barely. I mean, they veered into fan service toward the end of that game, but it was more of a side story, really, than like you were not. Other than that thing at the end, you were not directly setting up like here's where the Master Chief came from.
Right. It wasn't like here's Tales of the Master Chief.
Right.
You know.
Right. It was more of a here's a different group of characters in a different situation, and like it gives more context to the world, but it doesn't undermine any of the stuff you already like. You know.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of just like a straight up prequel that has ever just been like better or even great.
Yeah. And like the way they set up Marston at the beginning of Red Dead Redemption, like questions are almost always more interesting and satisfying than answers ultimately, right? Yeah. Like you know enough about what's going on with him and his gang from context for that game to work. Like,
he builds C-3PO.
Yes, exactly. Like that's the thing. Like I don't need a bunch of that.
Yeah.
Metal Gear.
Actually, Snake Eater was pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, actually that super worked.
Nope.
Oh, Metal Gear Solid 3? No.
What are we gonna have this conversation again? Like
I forgot,
is still no.
I forgot if you liked 3 or not. You don't like 3?
I mean, in that case, like you kind of have to separate the storytelling from the gameplay.
Yeah, but
just in terms of
that stuff to me always felt like it was that case of just like here's a character that's like another character you already know about,
right?
But it's not the same guy, but we're gonna treat him exactly the same. Like I thought that stuff was super lame.
Like here's your ride and stand in.
Totally.
Like here is a young Ocelot.
Like specifically the ride and stand in was just like, oh fuck you.
Yeah.
It's Rydenovich. It was a totally different character.
Like, fucking whatever.
Clearly.
What do you guys make of the use of the word heartland?
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah, because that always sounds a little more Middle America to me.
I'm thinking Midwest.
Which, because
personally I'd love that.
Because the last game was, I mean, it was all fictionalized,
it was
but
more
it was
Pacific Northwest, wasn't it?
No,
because it had Mexico. It was bordered Mexico.
Yeah. So you head into Mexico, which they call Mexico, right? But
I think so.
But the states are fictionalized.
Right. The reason I was thinking Pacific Northwest is that third act of the game. It was all a lot of trees and hills and stuff, and it kind of evoked like Pacific Northwest type stuff.
Sure,
but it was down by the Mexican border.
Yeah. I guess that's how the GTA always handles it, right? Like they refer to the United States, but all the cities and states are all fictional.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, like Heartland.
Wasn't the leaked map indicative of like Midwest kind of stuff also, like other side of the railroad track type stuff?
Maybe. I want to say people were trying to match it up with the previous game's map and say like, oh, here's that place and those lakes and stuff.
Okay.
But that could have been wishful thinking or something.
I don't know for sure. But
I don't want to harp on the prequel thing too much because they're putting out a trailer on Thursday, so I guess we'll know definitively who's in this and what it's about in a couple days.
It's a Western-themed theme park. Set in the near future.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
God, that fucking show is so good.
It's great.
I need to watch that.
It's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's great.
What are they like?
Three episodes in
now.
Great
I
show.
hope the trailer just comes out and it just looks like the Knights of Sidonia video. They're just finally making that game.
Finally,
that's that and Gunsmoke 2 are the only cowboy games I'm interested in ever seeing. So, yeah.
I know there were a lot of rumors floating about this, actually coming out, but I was really worried that there was just going to be a remake or something. And I'm glad
a lot of people were looking at these.
Well, they just put it out on PS4, like didn't they?
Selling the PS3 version.
I'm not crazy. Did I fucking make that up? No,
what? It's on Xbox One.
Yeah, it came to Xbox One.
Got backwards,
but I feel like at some point it came to a Sony,
PS Now or something.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's on that.
Huh.
I can find out.
But I thought there was some announcement like last week or something that was like Red Dead's available.
Well, searching Red Dead Redemption PS4 is now impossible.
Oh right, yeah.
Maybe that exists, but
yeah, I'm not sure.
But anyway, at some point it did come to Xbox One.
Yeah, you can play that version.
So
I think it's been pretty cheap. Also, like you could buy it for like $10 on
when
there.
they put it out. I want to say they made it like $5 or something crazy like that.
Really?
Downloadable?
$5 or $10.
I should have bought a digital version.
It was
I
some
should have too.
super low price when they first rolled out.
I missed out
Xbox
on
One
that. Yeah, because I remember looking it up and going, I don't know if I can pay $15 or $20 for this. And I can't find my copy at home. What the hell?
Was that 2010?
Yes.
It was 2010?
Yes.
Okay.
Same week as Alan Wake, right?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
I think so.
I remember I got back from like PAX or something and walked to the game store and bought Alan Wake and Red Dead, and then came back and didn't play either of them.
I feel like I had already reviewed Alan Wake by the time that Red Dead came out.
But maybe that was just a case of like anyway. They were close enough together that I bought them both at the same time, but maybe that's not the same week.
Was that right around the same time as Mortal Kombat and Portal? Was that the same
No,
year?
That was a different year. No.
Okay, but the same day, different year.
I think those were 2011. I think it was 2011.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Whatever year the PSN hack happened.
Right. Yeah.
I wonder if I should play through Redemption again. Like I've got the disc still at home.
I am afraid to, because I keep thinking like they might do it.
Might do what?
Like put it out. Like the fabled PC version might finally happen. But like now, I don't know. I don't know if you think that ship sailed.
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
they don't do that as part of this like promotional cycle.
No.
Like put that thing out early next year or something.
Rockstar doesn't need to do that.
They don't need to, but like they would make them money.
They'd be better off focusing on the new game. And
maybe
getting everybody around that.
Maybe so.
That doesn't seem like a Rockstar thing to do.
Yeah.
But
Oni 2.
Yeah, now you're talking.
Yeah.
Super curious to find out more about this. We'll know in like 48 hours.
They eventually put those PSP Liberty City and Vice City stories on PS2,
yeah, that stuff
right?
comes out all over the place.
Yeah.
Those
were all right.
That stuff came out on iOS. Like they are way into kind of cross-releasing stuff.
Do you guys play Chinatown Wars?
Yep.
That was good.
Yeah, that was pretty
I like that on DS.
Yeah, it was better than
It had some gimmicky, like hotwire the car or whatever, but it was all right.
Yeah. Like all the drug selling stuff. Like there's a lot of like buy low, sell high, like just drug business in that game.
Yeah.
What do you make of the platforms? I mean, like it's guaranteed this thing will come to PC.
Is it?
At some point.
It has to. It completely, like, again, GTA 5 still a top 10 game on Steam.
Yeah, I mean, yes,
that's a huge
that
audience.
makes perfect sense, and you would hope that from the ground up they would like make sure the tech was able to do all that stuff.
That's always been the story, right? About the last Red Dead never coming to PC. It was just like
it never. I don't know that ever got confirmed.
No, but that's what I'm saying. The rumors were always like, the code base is such a mess, it would be the port is impossible or something. Like,
so I think everyone's smarter about that sort of stuff these days. To the point where something like Watch Dogs gets pushed back on PC or something.
Sure.
But they should do it, but I suspect it'll end up being one of the situations where they don't announce it until after these versions are out.
Absolutely.
Like, hey, you should buy this. Now you should buy it again.
And to be fair, they added a ton of stuff to the PC version of GTA 5. Like, not just graphics stuff, but like all the weird like filmmaker type stuff and like all the like when they say like, we're taking our time to make the best version or whatever, like you can kind of actually take them at their word.
How long was the gap between the console and PC version for
GTA 5?
6 months?
Yeah.
It was no, they kept pushing it back because remember I really wanted to play through it again, but I was waiting for the PC one.
Right.
And so it was. I think the console ones were around holiday, and then I want to say it was like March before the PC one came out.
Yeah, so it was about 6 months.
Yeah, originally it was going to be January, but then they pushed it back.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
Yeah, there were lots of pushbacks there.
Also, with the social club stuff, they would have pretty good data on who bought a console version or two and then bought the PC version as well, right?
Yep.
By looking at accounts that are connected to multiple versions of the game.
Absolutely, they would know that. Yeah.
So they have a pretty good idea of how many people are willing to buy it on a console and then buy it again on a PC.
Yep. Yeah, they do.
So there you go. All right. That's all there is to say about Red Dead. Find out more on Thursday. Steam Dev Days happened.
Right.
Some stuff came out of that, but that thing is so developer focused that I don't think they even invite press, or like you can't even really get into it as press.
Not really. Yeah, it's they some of those talks are widely talked about, and some of that stuff it's not like it's necessarily like top secret or anything.
No. But like the things that matter to the greater like gaming world kind of leak out of there, or not leak, but they get discussed.
Yeah.
Prototype new Vive controllers
are
happening.
Yeah.
That look a lot smaller.
They look like smaller, and like they kind of attach in some different ways that are maybe tracking fingers.
Okay. I mean, would you say those things are just straight up Oculus Touch like?
Maybe a little bit.
Or a little bit more.
No, I mean, not in terms of form factor or anything like that, but in terms of functionality, it seems like it might be a little more aimed at that sort of stuff. I don't know. I only saw like a couple of the pictures that people were posting. It wasn't really clear.
It's all like photos off of presentation screens and stuff.
Yeah. There was that stuff. I think they also talked about new lighthouses for the Vive.
Yeah,
for next year.
I saw that too, but I didn't really get a sense of
like what that actually
does or
maybe
why that matters.
Maybe they just can just make them cheaper.
Who
knows?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Or slightly better.
No information whatsoever on like when these new controllers would come out, or how you would get them, or if
they're prototypes, so they might not even ever come out.
If you could trade in your old controllers for them, or blah blah blah. We will see. Yeah. But the only other thing I found that looked interesting was that they're adding native DualShock 4 support to Steam.
Yeah,
which is kind of cool.
Right.
Yeah, because you can use like the trackpad as like a mouse.
Did they say that? I'm sure they'll let you do that.
They showed like a configuration screen.
It uses the same.
They did mention the
Steam
trackpad.
controller uses.
Yeah.
So
yes. Actually, you're right. One of the quotes here. Who do they have from Valve?
It doesn't like the DS4 tool stuff already has that with the mouse.
Kind of.
Yeah. If you want to,
you can make that work.
Extra thing.
Yeah, I don't. That's what I'm glad about.
Yeah, that thing is. It's fine. It more or less does what it. But like there have been times where like Windows 10 came out and it broke compatibility for a while, and like that thing is definitely very third party.
I think the idea of just being able to just say, here's the like automatically remapping stuff for getting this direct input controller to behave like an X input controller, and building that into Steam seems smart, because the solution right now is hacky and weird. And
true.
This is still hacky and weird, but less weird from the looks of it. So
I use it like an Xbox One controller at home, and I actually ran into an instance last night just where I wish I had a touchpad that functioned as a mouse, because I was playing a game that had like partial controller support,
right?
And there was one fucking situation where I had just to mouse over something, click it, and I stopped playing.
I gave up and just bought.
I
bought one of those Logitech like wireless keyboard trackpad combo things, because I just couldn't deal with that stuff anymore.
Yeah, and I've got that too, but I didn't want to get out of my comfy chair.
That's fair.
But
I can appreciate that level of lethargy.
Sure.
I'm using an Elite controller on my PC these days.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would switch to a PS4 controller at this point.
So that thing is so well supported natively, or I mean, all Xbox One controllers are at this. Well, is it at that point yet?
Yeah, pretty much.
Where like games are not.
There are a couple of things where older things you run into some weird issues, but even that stuff has come a long way.
Yeah, like the native Xbox One support is so good on on Windows 10 already that this is fine for this is great for people that want to use this.
If you want to use that controller, it's a great controller.
I don't think I'm going to switch
it,
back.
But, like if I was using a standard Xbox One controller on my PC right now, I would probably switch, or at least give it a a shot. But now I look at it and go like, oh, that's cool that they're finally doing that. It's too late.
It depends on what hardware you've got. I bought the dongle for the Xbox One stuff, so I'm already kind of locked into that.
I'm just using wired because I'm sitting right there. But
did they have that dongle out for the PS4 controller?
I think that thing came out.
Yeah,
didn't it?
I don't know.
It's just a Bluetooth dongle, right? It's nothing too fancy, right?
I don't know the specifics, but they kind of made it sound like it would make the pairing process easier somehow.
I think it's just there's a button on it, like the other Xbox dongles. But
if nothing else, like a lot of Bluetooth dongles are not compatible with that controller, so it's just a fucking nightmare of reading Amazon reviews to try to figure out if the one you're buying is compatible, because I've done that. Yeah, they don't say a lot other than like they say this adds quote full configurability to controllers other than the Steam controller. That's about it.
All right,
but that's cool. It's a cool idea.
Yeah.
And then Jason.
What's up?
Right after you thought Smash and Grab was pretty cool,
yeah,
we all looked at that thing and said, "Man, that looks pretty cool." And then I submitted a request for Steam code yesterday saying, "Hey, we want to do a video with this thing," and didn't hear back. And then hours later,
oh god,
it sounds like United Front Games is shutting down.
Yeah,
I killed it.
Good job.
I'm sorry.
That's really unfortunate.
I think I did that to Rising Thunder too. I'm sorry.
You got to quit doing that.
Shit. It's not playing early release games on.
Yeah, stop sticking a knife in the heart of the voodoo doll.
That game seemed all right.
Yeah, it looked kind of neat from what I saw of it. This hasn't been officially confirmed by anybody yet, but there's like Twitter chatter and stuff.
I think it's like
from multiple,
there are definitely like employees of that studio that are out there going, there
are pretty explicit tweets about the end of the studio.
Yeah,
floating around out there.
Sudden to them, as far as you can tell?
Hard to tell.
You would imagine that like a lot of the employees of the studio would not have known too far ahead of time, I would guess.
Well, especially if you like look at Smash and Grab, it's still in early access and it's only been out for
when
did that thing
and
come
they
out?
just
like a month
they
or two
just
ago?
did a free weekend.
They are in the middle
that.
of like it was extending until today. I think like
right.
they're in the middle of what was supposed to be their free weekend.
Like this is like they're effectively at the beginning of launching Smash and Grab.
Yeah,
so,
and so you can't buy that game on right around the time this news had hit.
They pulled it.
The game if you bought it already, it's still there.
Yeah.
And I was able to download it and log into a server, which I assume means at some point the game will stop working.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah,
have to start issuing
idea,
refunds at that point?
I don't know. The idea that this was in the middle of a free weekend and also a 15% off sale days before it went under is a little funky. Like, I wonder what the situation was where they were like, well, here's our Hail Mary. Either it sells enough to cross this line or we're done. I don't know. I wonder. I don't know. Or if they knew that this was like, it becomes a little skeevy at some point if they knew that this was going to happen and was like, hey, let's just try and get over,
Or even if they didn't know for sure, but that this was their last-ditch effort. They were like, all right, maybe this will get us there, but like if it didn't, which it clearly didn't, then...
Like it's an early access game,
now what?
So like you're kind of buying it on the notion that it's going to be finished someday. Like there's a lot,
And even setting that aside, the server stuff means that...
Like maybe it might not work.
It could just become unplayable in the
I don't know how
future.
their server stuff is built, so I don't know what it actually entails. But that stuff seems potentially really messed up for consumers.
Yeah, because they haven't announced like what they're doing with that license. If it's really getting shut down, if somebody else is going to take over,
if they're going to sell the game off to someone who's going to pick it up and take it the rest of the way, or
something like that happened to like APB, didn't it?
Something like that. Yeah. Well, that game came out, failed. Someone bought it, made it APB Reloaded.
Gotcha.
Did it free to play. Hellgate London went through the same sort of process.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah,
I also don't want to talk about their not being any more Sleepy Dogs. That's a fucking
yes. If people don't know, this is the developer of Sleeping Dogs, which I would say is a beloved cult kind of classic.
Yeah, but like, let's be real here. Like that ship sailed years ago. Like they weren't going to make a Sleeping Dogs 2. Square was not going to.
First of all, they don't.
Square wasn't.
They don't even own Sleeping Dogs. Square does.
It just wasn't. Right. They could have made another open world game at some point, but like it just. If that was going to happen, it would have happened immediately after Sleeping Dogs 1, or after that definitive edition or something. If they could have proved that people wanted it, I just don't think.
I always thought that it was a success for them. That both critically and
it was awesome. But I just don't think it was in the cards. I never believed that they were going to make that game. After Triad Wars, like that was their spin-off of the Sleeping Dogs stuff. Like that came out and tanked, and
so according to this story I pulled off of Eurogamer, they didn't even finish Triad Wars. Right, they canceled it before it got its like full final release.
Like people were playing it in some form of like beta, closed alpha or open beta or something. But
it's a shame.
Yeah, it is.
It's unfortunate. They have been around for a little bit. They made Mod Nation Racers.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Yeah.
And Little Big Planet Karting, which I didn't even realize existed.
Yeah.
It's kind of Big Planet Kart game.
It's kind of like Mod Nation Racers.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Is Mod Nation Racers out yet?
I don't think it's coming in a few months.
It's coming out any day now.
When's that out?
By the end of the year.
Something like that. Yeah.
I heard it get pushed.
They did work on the Master Chief Collection.
And
Disney Infinity apparently. Like I didn't realize they had
they got announced for Infinity. I wonder if that ended up being like kind of a big thing for them of just like, here's this money we thought was going to come in relating to Infinity, but then because I don't know if what they did for Infinity came out. I don't know what they did for Infinity.
It wasn't the racing stuff. That was
no, that was Sumo.
Yeah, and it wasn't the combat stuff
because that was
Ninja Theory and maybe some other people.
Yeah, I don't know.
Man, I didn't even think about this being like a trickle down effect of the Infinity closure.
God damn it!
That makes it even more sad.
Yeah, that probably
just collateral damage
has an impact there.
Maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll wait for official confirmation, but that doesn't sound good.
I just got cool new cases for my Disney Infinity characters.
Oh, cool.
$5 at Daiso for these plastic cases.
Is that stuff like on fire sale clearance now?
No. Like actual like cases, like figurine display cases. Which are you go into fucking Amazon and those things are like $30 or $40 a piece.
Those just like generic cases for whatever.
They would fit Amiibo?
Yeah, they do fit in.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Will they fit signed baseballs?
They do have versions of that. Yeah, totally. $5 at Daiso. That's great.
I find that you can just take your Infinity figures and buy a gigantic Rubbermaid plastic tub at any like good hardware store and put all of them into that.
You could put some like cool LED lighting in there to like illuminate it. Yeah,
suitable for display.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this counts as news, but I pulled it because I saw it floating around on Twitter. They patched Shadow of Mordor for 4K.
Huh.
For PS4 Pro.
Oh.
Which is not far off. What is that thing?
Yeah.
2.5 weeks or something like that?
4K
beginning of November. I just thought it was kind of interesting because you did not expect, or you wouldn't expect, a bunch of older games to start getting support for that stuff necessarily. Like, that game is over 2 years old.
I think, you'll see some games,
especially like
older games
that are doing well on PC. And
I guess so.
To
but
run
also,
that well
I think
on
you'll
PC.
see kind of like one game per studio.
Okay, that I can see. Yes.
Okay, let's get our feet wet with what this means.
Yes, we needed to do the R&D anyway, so let's go ahead and put it out there.
Let's do it with our existing games, see how it goes.
Like I kind of expected, like of course, like some of the Sony first party stuff would get it.
Mm-hmm.
Uncharted and maybe Bloodborne, maybe not. But yeah, just like kind of random old third party stuff.
Yeah, it just seems like hey, if this team needs to understand how the PS4 Pro is going to work, then they're going to use a previous game or something like that, which honestly, like, that's almost weird because maybe that says that, like, you would think that they would have something big in development already, but if they're doing this work, what does that say about whatever their current project is? Because you'd think that they would maybe just spend it on their current project.
Yeah, unless maybe the work was trivial. Maybe it wasn't that hard.
Or maybe they're using the exact same tech this next time out, and the work just trickled down to the previous project in a way that made sense. Or I
like maybe somebody there wanted to work late and do this because they felt strongly about it.
I have no idea.
No way to know. But it's cool. It's cool to see some older stuff. Getting set up for that thing, even as I am like increasingly wondering how much I actually need that thing.
Yeah, I wonder how that stuff's going to go.
The fact that they're capping it at 30 frames per second for me is like kind of a deal breaker.
Capping what?
The 4K stuff on PS4.
Well,
it's not capped. It's just that, like, it's unlikely that they'll hit it that often.
I think the PS4 everything that I've seen that's been put out is.
I think that
I wouldn't
want to
say
that that's related to the HDMI cable you're using. That I think I saw a chart that was specifically like, hey, a lot of if you're not using Ultra or whatever the higher cable spec, then you are limited to 30.
The PS4 is not going to push out 60 if I use a different HDMI cable.
Well, it depends on the game, but I could see there being some like Geometry Wars level stuff that might be able to hit 60. I want to say I saw the Thumper guys saying they would be able to hit native 4K.
Right, yeah.
On the Pro.
They did say that.
Because that game is super simplistic. Like, that thing is not pushing the hardware especially hard. Dan, you're in, right?
Yeah, I'm getting it.
Still?
At
launch?
Yeah, I'm going to sell my current PS4 as I leave town.
Okay.
And then once I get for Christmas in Kansas, I'll get the Pro probably.
I mean,
if you're bring it to Jersey.
Yeah, if you're willing to do the Craigslist dance, like you could easily sell a PS4 for what, 150?
I'm hoping for closer to 200.
Maybe 200, maybe pushing 200.
I'll start at the 200, and I'll accept best offers.
If it's in good shape, you might be able to get 200 for it.
Yeah,
throw in a game or something.
It's the White Destiny one.
At that point, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna have two PS4s, I don't know. It's weird to see little signs of that thing showing up all over the place. Like I use that Windows Remote Play app for PS4. Fairly often, and that thing just got an update that adds to the dropdown for quality that gives you a 1080p 60 option. And I was like, cool. And I hit that, and it was like, this only works on CUH-7000 model PS4s. And I had to Google that, and it turns out that's the PS4 Pro. So, there are some reasons to get that thing. But whatever. Let's read some emails. Bombcast, a giant bomb.
I will be happy to get one of those in here and really actually start putting that thing through its paces and go like, okay, what the fuck does this thing actually do?
For our purposes, like pulling footage and like showing what it does, obviously is going to be a huge thing. But like
on several occasions, I have been around the office and I've seen two PlayStation 4s stacked on top of each other in a certain way, and have genuinely thought like, oh, did we get that in? Holy shit.
People asked, was it UPF that we had two on the coffee table?
I think
on
so.
Friday, and we're like 2 or 3 people like asked on Twitter, like, did you guys get the Pro yet?
Yeah,
like I saw that fat PS4 sitting there. I was like, no, it's just
easy to get fooled.
No, we were doing that at launch. Like we had 3 of them stacked
we had
on
like
top
3.
of each other. It was the fucking cool looking step thing. think you get like more than 4 on there, the whole thing starts to tip over.
Looks like it starts looking like a building out of Blade Runner or something. All right, bombcast@giantbomb.com. That's where the emails go. First email comes in from Matt in Raleigh, North Carolina. It happens to be about Shadow of Mordor, sort of. When Shadow of Mordor came out, the big talk around the game was how unique its Nemesis system was and how in a few years everybody would be copying it.
Oops.
2 years later, and unless I've missed something, there hasn't been a system like it in any game released or upcoming. Mafia 3 seems like it could have greatly benefited from it.
There's some stuff in Mafia 3 that is not entirely dissimilar.
Yeah, so that's he mentions that. He says the loop of kill guy to get at higher ranking guy to get at even higher ranking guy is tailor made for it. Do you think that Mafia 3 was too deep in development in 2014 to implement a major system like that? Are the copycats still coming, or has it just been forgotten?
I wonder.
We need a new Mercenaries World of Destruction.
All right.
With the deck of 52 using the Nemesis system.
An infinite deck of 52.
Yeah.
Do you think that thing was just so recognizably Shadow of Mordor that people were skittish about just lifting it?
No, I don't think
guess
anyone
not.
would be too scared to fucking steal
I guess
that
everybody took Batman Combat, right? Nobody gave a shit.
Yeah.
Even though we still call it Batman Combat.
I don't know. Maybe there just aren't quite as many open world games coming out, or so many of the open world games that are coming out are relatively set in their ways in a way that dropping that system in is not necessarily where they want to spend their resources. I don't know.
Man, speaking of Red Dead, that would be a game that could totally use something like that, like Notorious Outlaws and like roaming across.
Especially
the
always have one, just like, hey, here's some more wanted posters. At that point,
especially in such a lawless game like that, where the antagonists can kind of get away with anything. That would be really cool.
That'd be great.
For sure.
That is. I still feel like games should take that system.
Yeah,
it was still fucking cool.
It was incredible, and I would like to see more of it.
I don't know.
I don't know if we're ever going to get another Shadow of Mordor at this point. I mean,
surely thought that would have been happening by now, or like openly happening, I guess, by now.
That was kind of like the biggest surprise of E3 was that not being there.
Yeah. That was like a given going in. Yeah,
and I don't even know that it exists. I'm not like speaking from some position of authority here. I'm just assuming they won so many Game of the Year awards. Like, surely they would make another one.
Yeah,
who can say? Daniel writes in from Tacoma, Washington about hot sauce. I love hot sauce to the point where friends have referred to me as a hot sauce sommelier because I love pairings. My parents went on a vacation, and the place they went had a novelty hot sauce shop where they bought me 3. One was something about holy cleansing fire, so it came with a mini Bible with actual scriptures. Another was a gator-themed flavor and has a small gator foot. And the last had a scientific formula on the front, and attached was, you guessed it, a tiny capsule of pure capsaicin.
Oh.
I have never been one of those people to try something hotter than I can handle just to stroke my ego, so I knew it was past my limits. But I was curious, so I opened the capsule to, I'm not sure, but the fumes alone hurt my eyes, nose, and mouth. It now sits permanently unmolested in the back of my cabinet. Question for you guys, what should I do with it? I'm never going to use it in my cooking, but I don't want it to go to waste.
Just pour it in the trunk of a friend's car.
What would that do?
Ooh,
that's be real unpleasant anytime you open the trunk of that car.
Probably just fucking contaminate that car forever. Just find a way to burger somebody's office with it.
Oh, yeah.
Burger an office?
Yeah. That'd be pretty good.
Just bring it out at parties. Keep it.
People,
wait for someone to get just drunk enough to fucking make that mistake, and then make them make that mistake.
Oh, no. That seems real bad.
I keep a bottle of Bundaberg rum around for that, and that shit is fucking nasty.
What is the deal with it?
It's terrible. It's like super high proof.
Yeah.
But it is the worst tasting thing, I think. A friend of mine brought it from Australia.
Like higher than like a 151 kind of situation.
Maybe I think it might be around there. I forgot the actual proof, but we've had it for like 5 years, I think, and every once in a while we'll bust it out for people.
I have a bottle of like 500,000 Scoville vodka. I think somebody sent it into the office.
Yeah, I think there's another bottle of that around here somewhere.
Yeah, I have not. It has all the warnings on it saying like, do not take a shot of this. And I have not touched it. My fiance just took a full-on shot of it right when I brought it home and just totally no-sold it. It was pretty impressive. I will not touch it though.
It's intense. No,
I'll bring it in if you guys want to try it.
Nope.
Maybe before you leave.
Okay. Mario Party drinking games.
Fuck, man.
No, in fact, we're banning most food from Mario Party next time.
Yeah?
so that we aren't falling asleep from fucking sugar crashes.
Oh, right. We got that
time was a
care package,
nightmare.
Right? Yeah, last time was that was tough for me. And you know how much joy I take in Mario Party. That last one was so rough.
Well,
let's just get a ton of caffeine for this next one.
Who would have thought fucking eating an entire package of Oreos and a bunch of nacho cheese
Twizzlers too
would go poorly for you over the course of 4 hours. Yeah.
Someone actually sent in a bunch of Oreos.
Yep.
Like, hey, it's for the next Mario Party.
Oh, boy.
And I just looked at it and went like, absolutely not.
We're not opening this.
Absolutely not.
I'd have some.
All right. Patrick writes in and says, in 2015, Dan tricked his dad into playing a few games and getting drunk. During that time, Dan said he had one requirement for his wedding, that it would have pyrotechnics for his entrance. Dan is engaged now. Where is he at with these pyrotechnic plans? Do it right, Dan. The wedding should be seen from space.
I don't know if pyrotechnics are going to happen.
Oh, no.
We are making the plans right now.
Oh, no.
Pyrotechnics, we're not sure. It hasn't been totally yayed or nayed.
Yeah.
She does want to conclude the wedding with a screening of Face Off. So I would. I asked about a full-on like Face Off themed wedding. I don't know what that would look like.
You guys switch faces.
Yeah.
Exchanging rings.
That sounds expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, if you depending on where you're doing it, you could theoretically go like put on a fireworks show. You know, that shit is expensive, but weddings are expensive. So, you know, you could theoretically invest the money in like getting the licenses and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's just as we plan this thing, we're very much going for like not elaborate.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't want any flowers. She doesn't want any of this shit. Like none of the pomp and circumstance of a normal wedding. She just, you know, friends and family and Face Off. You know,
the 3 Fs. Yeah,
there you go.
Which I am completely okay with. Yeah, we're catering with like pizzas or barbecue or something. You know, like
that's holy matrimony.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, then you could always bring your own fireworks. Just hope for the best.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
No wrestling ring.
Nah, that's too elaborate. That's too big, and we're trying to keep this pretty.
You can rent those. Like.
Oh, I know enough people with wrestling rings.
Is she anywhere?
I can make that happen.
Wrestler style
into wrestling as you?
She does enjoy wrestling quite a bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he ruined her with the wrestling.
She's a fan.
Yeah. Good stuff.
We're watching Total Bellas right now. It's a pretty good show.
Is it good?
It's pretty good.
Okay. How many episodes?
They've had tonight will be 3. Tomorrow will be 3.
Okay.
It's a good show.
Is it just
John Cena's weird?
Is that just a
I love that guy.
reality show about their lives?
John Cena, the Bellas, Daniel Bryan, and John Laurinaitis living in a house.
So I assume they must produce all that stuff specifically for the network, right?
No, that's on the E.
That shit is on E.
What?
And it's hugely successful. Like
What?
my sisters who don't give a shit about wrestling, they love the Bellas. Like it's totally like a Kardashian type thing. Like the Bellas are like legit crossover stars now.
All right. Okay.
When is Total Divas coming back?
I don't know. I hope all the Paige and Del Rio stuff is on there.
Yeah, no shit.
There's zero chance of that.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
All right. Next email comes in from Shy. It's about honey. During last week's Bombcast, there was an email claiming that honey is bee vomit. That is completely false. It is perceived as vomit as it comes out from the bee's mouth, but it is not vomit. The bee sucks and collects the nectar from flowers using its long proboscis. Is that
nose?
Yes.
Is that the hummingbird nose?
Never quite known.
Proboscis. Proboscis.
Yes.
Yeah.
And stores it in its special sac or honey stomach, separate from its true stomach for digestion.
I also have a honey stomach.
Yes. It then secretes enzymes into the nectar to turn it into honey. The claim that honey is bee vomit is nothing more than vegan propaganda. Saying it is vomit is equivalent to saying that eggs are chicken poop.
Okay.
So make
I'll
you feel
buy that.
better?
I mean, I didn't listen to any of the stuff last week,
right.
so actually now that I'm glad I hear the good part of it.
Sure.
Okay, cool.
I mean, it's still coming from a stomach, just not the
It's not
other
puke,
stomach.
just like eggs aren't poop.
Aren't they though?
It comes out of a butt, and not everything that comes out of a butt is poop.
Go on.
Yeah, let's hear. What are other
I mean,
things
if you
that come out of a butt
if you
that's not
swallowed
poop?
a marble, it would come out of your butt. And marbles aren't poop.
I don't know if that counts.
But then, like,
That's
What's inaccurate
Those
about
are
that?
unnatural circumstances.
But it's something that could conceive. In Jackass 2, they put that toy car up that guy's butt, and that came out. And toy cars aren't poop.
I feel like things that you put in the butt that come out of the butt are different than things that are getting processed through your body, like a marble would be. I think it's a different.
I still don't know.
Yeah, come on. Let's establish some
about.
rules here.
Yeah.
We need standards in this conversation.
I'm not a doctor.
Okay.
All right.
Then we'll move on.
Thank you for the disclaimer. been wondering about that.
We need to show disclaimer at the top. No one on the staff is an actual doctor.
Greg writes in from Germany. It seems like every time I boot up the Xbox or PlayStation Store, I'm being prompted to not only pre-order a game, but pay $80 or more for some sort of deluxe, day one, early enlisters, etc. edition, and it is terrifying.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
This has been a gradual rollout since the start of this generation, but we are now in a place where you have to start digging if you want to find the standard $60 base game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that we're on the verge of the end of the $60 AAA game? As someone who plays most major titles each year, the only memorable DLC I think I've played in years has been for The Witcher 3, making these $80 to $100 price tags for new games pretty absurd in my eyes. This is all starkly contrasted by logging into Steam, but services like Origin, Uplay, and the Microsoft Store are bringing this to PC now too. Any thoughts?
I've actually been surprised that they've stayed at 60 for so long. Because, I mean, that's what we were paying for, like, Super Nintendo cartridges, in 1992 money.
Yeah, obviously, if you dig into the economics of how much game development costs now versus, like...
Right.
But you would...
But I wasn't buying a Super Nintendo game. I wasn't buying, like, 2 a week or anything like that. Like,
right.
There's far more, like, AAA-style titles out now.
I feel like there are fewer these days, though.
Really?
I don't know. It doesn't seem like it used to be in terms of just,
I can count 1 or 2, like, that I want to pick up pretty much every week.
And again, like, half of the big games this Q4, this holiday, are, like, shooters. Like big branded like franchise shooters.
It's weird out there now.
Yeah.
I think that this trend makes sense for games that have that longer tail of competitive play, where you have a lot of people that are probably like, look, you probably already know if you give a fuck about Battlefield or not, and you probably already know how much of a fuck you give about paying for more maps and all that other stuff. So if you're the sort of person that was just going to buy it and get the season pass anyway, that's all they're bundling up. And some additional battle packs, whatever fucking, if you care about the cosmetic items, then, I don't feel like they're necessarily tricking people or offering things that are out of line with the prices that they charge separately for this shit. You could say that Battlefield Premium, their season pass thing, is too expensive, and I would agree with that. Because it's like $50. It's like some insane amount of money for these map packs and fucking cosmetic things, or or just packs that are just like, here's a bipod for your gun, or like whatever it is. So I don't think that it's like necessarily deceptive, and I think that there are probably enough people out there in the kind of mainstream world for these shooters that are just like, yeah, I want the best one because I'm gonna play all this shit. This is the only game I'm gonna play for the next year anyway. So of course I'm gonna buy this version. Of course I want to play it. The part where it breaks down for me, the part where I feel like it's like getting filthy, is if you buy the expensive version of this game, you get to play it early.
Early access.
Like today is the Battlefield day for people that bought the early version.
But only, right?
Only.
Like you can't buy that game for $60 until like what, Friday?
Yeah, I think
this week?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
And Call of Duty did that last year. Or no, the Call of Duty was just pre-orders. It wasn't even necessarily you had to pre-order a specific edition. It was just pre-orders play Friday.
Yes.
Everyone else plays Tuesday.
Yes. Microsoft,
and now
Microsoft is all in. Forza and Gears both did that.
And I think that's the stuff. That's the stuff where I think you run the risk of really turning off the kind of mainstream consumer. If you've got someone who just pre-ordered the $60 version and then hears that their friends are playing and they're like, awesome, let's play. Yeah. Wait, what the fuck do you mean I can't fucking play?
Yep.
Like, I think that's the very dangerous and very real road that they're heading down with that stuff. I think that's the stuff that'll turn off like a mainstream audience, because I think that'll be confusing to them. But like the people that are like writing into this podcast with emails, you're smart enough to know whether you want that stuff or not, and you're smart enough to know that there's probably going to be a $60 version that doesn't have any of that shit. So I think it's like, I think the people that are complaining about the problem are smart enough to avoid it. But there is this kind of like larger crowd out there that I think could be really rubbed the wrong way by some of that early stuff, some of that early play stuff.
Did you get to that Tuesday point of like, oh, I pre-ordered the game, let's go? It seems like you would be just as likely to cancel your pre-order as you would to pay the extra $40
if you can. If you're getting a digital version of the game,
you
can't even cancel it in some cases.
Sure.
So I like, for me, the Battlefield release schedule has been fucking weird because of the EA Access stuff on top of that. Because I think those people could play last Friday.
Yeah, I think that's
some 10-hour demo. So it's like there's like 3 release dates, whatever it is, for Battlefield to keep in mind. I'm like, I don't even know when this game is out. I know the reviews hit yesterday, which is the same day we got a copy of the game.
Right.
For fucking dumb fucking reasons on top of that, from the sounds of things. So yeah, I think that stuff will just get confusing for the average player out there that isn't keeping up with this stuff day to day, and that's where I think it gets dangerous. But the idea of them selling this stuff just on its face, whatever. People are smart enough to not fall for that shit in a lot of cases.
Hopefully,
because people shouldn't be pre-ordering games to begin with.
Yes.
So whatever.
Said it a million times.
I will say that I had trouble finding like the regular version of Gears.
Yeah, that was part
So
of
specifically
his
on,
point.
were you looking on the PC?
Yeah,
because I heard that specifically on the PC, it was extra hard to find that standard edition.
Totally
of the game.
was, and even clicking like some of the any banner that I found. That
that one's
should
gonna
lead me
link right to the
that goes directly
and
to
Origin was primarily linking to the 130 or 100 whatever the super expensive version of Battlefield also.
Yeah.
And once you got there, it had like the 3 editions. You could click down to the bottom tier if you wanted to.
I defined a very specific page in order to purchase just the standard edition.
And there was some stuff with like Overwatch, where the $60 version versus the $40 version, where that $40 version was not always as easy to find as it probably is these days.
Yeah,
or actually maybe it's gotten weird again. But there was a time I remember looking at the store and going like, oh man, they really want you to buy this $60 version, and then it's like, oh, if you click off to this thing and fine print this and do this, it's like, oh, here's the real $40 one. But I think that stuff, the bundles, the season passes, the cosmetics, that sort of stuff, I have zero problem with it. If people want to spend all that money up front instead of waiting and seeing, that's on them, and that's fine. I get why companies fucking really want to make more than $60 off of their games.
Well, of course.
And this is the thing, like these packages are the things that are keeping games from just being $80 across the board.
Yeah.
Right.
The idea that like people are, and like whatever, like people are buying it. Like that's it's tempting to just like want to like put your foot down and be like, fuck this. And there are some cases like, I think the Deus Ex microtransactions were ridiculous. I think the Gears stuff is mismanaged a little bit right now in ways that they could tune. But by and large, they're putting out generally what this is, even when you don't know. Even in cases where they're selling the season pass and they haven't fully elucidated, here's what the content is. They at least say, "Oh, we're gonna have 4 things," or this is roughly what you're gonna get. Like people aren't going into these situations 100% blind.
I'm trying to remember how long the online pass thing lasted. Was that like a year?
Like 2 years,
and
maybe?
Then they kind of started shifting to more season pass, episodic type stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know that it was a shift because the season pass stuff was happening.
Was it
then,
around the same
too.
time? Okay, so online pass was mainly to combat used game sales.
Exactly.
Right.
Yes.
So if you bought it,
you would
not
have to.
new,
You
have
could then
to
go buy $10 online pass.
I'm trying to think when that practice ended.
THQ did a lot of that. I
know.
remember.
EA was all EA was at the forefront of that shit.
Yeah.
I know Mass Effect 3 had it because I got a copy of that from you and you'd already used the code, so I went and paid $10 so I could play it online. So at least like as recently
Mortal
as like
Kombat
4 years ago.
9 used it.
Right.
Yeah.
What a weird experiment that just totally did not work.
I mean, I think it worked to whatever. I think it probably worked well enough. It was just it created too many angry consumers along the way to be worth it.
Yep.
Like I get what they were trying to do, and I think they were.
That's the thing.
It was probably a decent experiment.
I bet the psychology of this whole thing is you very much have to make people feel like you're giving them something extra, not withholding something from them that they have to pay more for.
Yeah.
This might sound incredibly arbitrary, but to me, I feel like this Battlefield situation is a bridge too far over stuff like the Gears thing.
Mm-hmm.
Partially because people are trained to think that Tuesday is game day, right?
Yeah.
So when you tell people all right, if you pay the extra whatever, you can play Gears the Friday before, that feels like a bonus.
And the whole weekend.
But having Battlefield be out on a Tuesday,
or having Battlefield be out on a Friday, but Tuesday is the early day.
Right.
Yeah,
so real Battlefield Day is later this week, right?
Right.
Like
I guess
just you paid the $60 and got Battlefield to play it.
I think so.
Still hasn't happened. That's later this week, right?
I think so. Again, like I said, it's that stuff's been
if it's
fucking
confusing to
hyper-weird.
us, it's got to be.
Do you think in a way
really
this is
bad for other people?
Do you think this is also a way to kind of hopefully curb used game sales?
No,
not as overtly, but I mean it's digital. So if they move it all over to digital, it's better for them.
Yes, moving to digital slowly is the way that they're combating used sales. But yes, preload this digital game and play it right at midnight. Don't leave your house.
Yep.
Like that is the friendly way of doing what Microsoft was trying to do all along with the Xbox One.
Right.
Sony's approach not that different in the grand scheme of things, just subtle. as opposed to full cutoff. Like they both want the same thing.
Yeah.
They always have.
Yeah.
But this is the market will eventually decide direction for like, oh, it's really convenient for me to not have to leave my house and preload this game and get this digital pre-order bonus and all this other stuff. And
I just ended up on the Battlefield 1 site, and even now they are exhorting you to pre-order today,
right,
on Tuesday, because they have the Ultimate Edition listed, and then after that they also have the, let me scroll down, the Early Enlister Deluxe Edition.
Okay, yeah.
And I believe that is the one you can play right now.
And there are 3 versions of Call of Duty this year, but I think I want to say that those are simply the game plus Call of Duty 4, and those 2 things plus the season pass.
Okay.
Huh.
And that version is like $100, which I think if you actually priced those items out separately, you go like, oh, actually maybe they're kind of cutting a deal if you pay that $100. I don't know how the math actually works out on that. I don't know. I think that the trend for DLC map packs and stuff like that, like people are moving away from that more and more. Like Gears isn't selling their maps.
Yeah.
But if you buy their pass, you then get the ability to use whatever map you want on custom games.
Yeah.
Which some people will want that. I don't give a shit. But that's something that is like a clear thing of like, hey, here's this kind of optional thing that like if you're a diehard Gears player, you probably want this.
That seems like a better way to handle
also,
it.
you can play early. Like they're giving benefits in a way. But the playing early stuff, I think, is just it leads to confusion where you're just like, what is the fucking release date of this game?
But in that case, like people buying the $60 game and getting to play all the maps, like feels pretty generous in the current climate. Even if there are some restrictions around which maps will be playable when.
In the current climate, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like saying, hey, you're going to get all the maps for free in this is like still kind of a leg up on a lot of this stuff.
And also, I think it gives them some air cover when they then have a bunch of microtransactions for cosmetics and stuff like that. Because like it or not, like that stuff, people want that shit. People want cosmetic goods.
Do they want it? Or do they buy it because it's there?
There's probably some of both. Yeah. I think you have some people that want to show off and say like, oh, I have all the fucking sickest gun skins.
I only want to show stuff off if I've like had to do something to work for it.
Yeah.
Like if I've had to earn some cosmetic, then I'm cool with like, oh, look at this thing. But like,
yeah,
it just feels kind of meaningless if you're just having to like paying $5 for a gun skin.
Yeah, I know. It's it's stuff that like whatever you used to be able to mod into PC games for free, and the market changed enough to where that's just kind of standard. Yeah. And I think that's become acceptable. And I think that there are customers out there, like you look at the charts, you look at the graphs, you look at GTA Online, you look at the people spending money to get better cars or, whatever the fuck it is. Like, there's a market for people out there. There's a market out there of people who are more than willing to pay for stuff like that. So they should offer it. I can't get mad at it. I look at it and go like, man, fuck that shit. But I've fucked up and like, I'm going to buy this dumb cosmetic item. I don't even play Dota.
Those are pretty good items.
No.
They're pretty good items.
They
are pretty good items.
When you play Dota, you are so far above the action that the skins are fucking meaningless.
Nope. They totally read.
Couriers, I get.
They totally read.
Couriers make perfect sense.
It's close enough. I mean, whatever. A game that you get that many hours out of for free. Like it's
but also, like, that's the thing is, yes, it is kind of hard to argue because of the way the strategies around where they make their money have changed.
Yep.
It's the people that are trying to have it always at the same time, where like, here's this $60 game, and then we've loaded it up with all this other shit, and by the way, here's this and this and this. Like, that starts to look nasty, but also, I think people are okay with that too. And
that seems to be the case.
That's just kind of how things have shifted, and just don't buy that shit if you don't like it. It's the part where they start to bank on the idea of you buying this stuff and building in like this Gears situation. I think can go that way for some players where they are skewing the game in such a way. Like Deus Ex would have been a hellish nightmare if you needed to buy levels to play that game effectively.
If those upgrade points felt in any way limited or like overly scarce, that would have been a real bad situation.
Yeah. Instead, it feels more like the fatality coins for Mortal Kombat, which to me are fucking terrible.
Sure.
Fuck. But whatever. Like, I think that shit is super lame.
Were those to open tombs in the crypt?
No,
is that what
they were? They were
easy
fatality.
It was like
they were
single
items.
Easy fatality.
It was single-use coins that you used to perform easy fatalities.
That's right.
The thing that you like. The whole point of it was you went to the goddamn arcade and learned how to do the fucking fatalities.
Yeah.
If people are fucking rubes in such a way that they are taken in by that, then Warner deserves that money at that point. Like fucking whatever. Yeah, they can sell whatever they want. It's up to the fucking people to decide how dumb they are and buy that shit or not buy that shit. It's only when it affects the game at large, the game balance, all that other stuff, that it's a problem. And some would say that the rise of cosmetics is only normalizing people to this behavior so that the next wave of things that actually affect the game will be ushered in on the backs of this. But until we get there, we're not there.
I want to think
until we get there, you can't. I don't think you can dig in and realistically be that angry about
I want to think people have high enough standards to reject that.
No, I mean, clearly,
but
I really don't have enough faith in the overall consumer base.
Maybe you're right.
I really think that stuff you would have people that would be very mad about it, and then
enough
it would
people
eventually
would buy
be
it
like,
that,
yeah.
Hope you're wrong, but maybe not. Luis writes in from Santa Cruz and says, after telling my coworker I was a fan of Giant Bomb, he told me that in 2003 he went to an event hosted by GameSpot in San Jose. He described it as being similar to PAX, but hosted by GameSpot. Did this event actually occur, or is my coworker mistaking it for something else?
Not in San Jose.
Yeah, like that didn't happen, right?
2003 San Jose. I mean, if it was a marketing event or something.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think we didn't do anything
not in San Jose
like that.
We did the thing at the Moscone Center the first year, and then it was like some pier on
But
Fisherman's
that
Wharf.
was 05.
Yeah, you're right.
Only in 2005 could you check out game. All right. Your coworker is bullshitting you, let's say.
I mean, or maybe there was just some weird fucking marketing run event that we would have had no knowledge of that was just some nightmarish thing.
Sure.
Say.
Yeah.
But they're probably fucking lying.
Yes. Just always assume everyone is lying.
Yeah. Safe bet.
It'll make things a lot easier.
Yeah.
Logan writes in from Nashville. Says, I have dead people eyes. Your eye talk on this week's episode made me want to share my own personal eye replacement story.
Oh, shit.
I had a degenerative cornea mutation called keratoconus, let's say, and slowly lost my vision from the age of around 10, ending up totally blind by age 24.
Mm-hmm.
Fortunately, medical science was there to save the day, and at age 28, I had both of my corneas transplanted with donor, also known as corpse corneas.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Needless to say, I am no stranger to having my eyeballs prodded and poked by medical professionals, but by far the worst thing I had to endure was this. During a post-op checkup following my second transplant, the doctor declared that my right eye was not grafting to the tissue perfectly and that it needed to be adjusted. After numbing my eye, I had to sit perfectly still with my eye open while the doctor pulled and repositioned the stitches which held the second-hand cornea to my eye. I'm a very anxious person as it is, and having a doctor pull at my eye with tweezers while fully awake made me, let's say, uneasy. As horror movie as that sounds, you might be surprised what you can endure knowing that after almost 2 decades, your eyesight has been restored.
That's awesome.
That's a good reason. Yeah, that is a pretty incredible thing.
We don't need to keep pulling those types of emails.
Right.
Like,
should we talk about stuff? People send in emails. That's how it goes.
Yeah. Can't we just talk about? Let's talk about.
I don't write the emails.
Cincinnati chili, just something.
Okay.
Can I talk about science for a second?
Sure.
I learned this weekend. Tell me, okay, this might be one of those things where I'm a total dumbass for not knowing this.
Okay.
But I learned this weekend that I've always heard the term gas giants to describe, Saturn and Jupiter and these things. I didn't, I guess, I never spent much time thinking about it, but I pictured it like a gobstopper. Like you got the outer crust with all your mountains and all that stuff, and it's just filled with gas instead of like lava, like Earth.
It's like a tooth.
Yeah, but it's fucking, the whole thing is...
No, dude, it's just a giant ball of gas.
It's gas. Like, you can't stand on
Jupiter. You can't stand on
Jupiter.
it. There's nothing there.
I thought for sure, like, when they sent something out to a Saturn moon or Jupiter moon a couple years ago when it landed...
Cassini?
I don't remember, but I remember thinking, like, oh, they should have just landed on Jupiter. Let's go see, go right over that red dot, and let's go see what the red dot's like. I thought it was like
landing on a cloud, man.
I had no idea, so I was Googling, like, can you walk on Jupiter? And there's all these theories of, like, oh, no, what would happen is you would just sink and sink until the pressure got too big, and you would just fucking super die.
I feel like it's theorized that they do have solid, some of them do have solid cores, but yeah, at that point, the pressure would be so intense that it's futile.
Yeah, I just assumed that every planet had a, like, rock crust.
Nope.
And then, like, oh, yeah, they're filled with gas if it's a gas giant.
I'll tell you how stars are formed sometime.
That was interesting.
Next week, maybe.
Yeah, same thing.
Science is fun.
Mm-hmm.
Some gas giants are failed stars.
How do you fail as a star?
You end up doing reality TV for a while, and then you just hit the skids real bad.
Yeah,
then just no one wants to see you anymore.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then you fail to achieve the pressure to activate thermonuclear fusion, and then
then that's that.
Happens to the best of us.
Boy.
Let's see. Well, let's continue Dan's education here.
Okay.
Craig writes in for Fort Wayne, Indiana. A couple weeks ago, Dan naively believed, as I did, that with Xbox Play Anywhere, he would be able to redeem his PC copy of Gears of War 4 and play two-player campaign without the use of split screen.
Am I not going to be able to?
Well, I was hoping to take it one step further and have two people split screen on the Xbox copy and two people split screen on the PC copy and play Horde mode, but alas, Microsoft was one step ahead of us. Not only can you not do this, but the game, in fact, will not even launch offline because it needs to ping the server to make sure the other version isn't currently being played.
Yeah, like if you don't have a network connection, Forza will not open.
Yeah,
really?
I've seen some people saying that, which
funky.
I think might be a new development because I saw people saying some previous Windows Store games did not have that requirement.
Yeah.
And now they do.
Maybe it's just the Play Anywhere stuff.
Anyway, he says, the account that bought the game must be signed in to launch the game, and you must be online, meaning you can't even play campaign in offline mode if you bought a digital copy of the game.
Well,
I find it hard to be that mad at them for giving us a PC copy, even if they sealed all the loopholes Dan and I were hoping to exploit.
I mean, I feel like he's not actually addressing the loopholes.
I'm not totally clear how this lines up with
the home
scenario.
Xbox, like other account being able to launch stuff.
Yeah, what he's describing doesn't sound like it necessarily
is our
totally
use case.
rules out what you were talking about.
But if it's tied to a copy of the game, like a game that was redeemed with this code, got the PC and the Xbox version, that is different than me being signed in to my Xbox Live account and my fiance being signed into hers.
Right.
Because then it is two different accounts.
Yeah.
But if it is somehow figuring out that it's the same code that was used,
then they
could maybe cut it
Yes,
off.
I mean, like we said, if they block it, it's deliberately,
Yeah,
that's stuff that, by the way they've discussed rules around Xbox games and stuff like that, that should work.
Are you going to try that? Like, I'm still
going to try it.
At this point, I'm curious to hear if that actually works.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try it. I mean, worst case scenario, we'll play split screen, but we would like to get this working.
Let's see. How about this came in from Anonymous. Please don't use my name or location. I guess you can call me your go-to lie guy.
Ooh.
Hey, Bombcast buddies. Last episode, Drew mentioned that Dan's dad could probably pass a lie detector. I don't want to get into how I know, but I'm going to give you a little tip so that anyone can easily pass a polygraph test. When the operator is asking you the questions, just squeeze your butt muscles as hard as you can.
I am right now.
Keep them clenched for the duration of the interview. It will cause a consistent elevated level of blood pressure. This will nullify the results of your test. This is one reason polygraph results are inadmissible in court.
Like the cheeks or the sphincter?
Probably
like
all
two
of it.
different sets.
Let's
Like
do
the
the
whole
whole
thing,
thing. Maybe
Like,
just
I'm trying to-
just cover all bases.
It's hard to I'm doing it right now, and it's hard to talk comfortably while you're putting so much effort towards squeezing your butt.
That's the whole point. That's part of the idea.
Is
so
that you're kind of consistently answering in a way that makes it, because when you
everything's freaking. I got a Fitbit here. I'm at 74 beats a minute.
Oh, does that one do one of the? Okay,
yeah,
right.
That's about normal.
I think one of the other old tricks is you put a thumbtack in your shoe.
I've heard that.
Oh,
and
just
you,
to spike some pain response.
Yeah, and
really?
you do that when they're asking you the control questions.
Okay,
I always heard that you ask yourself a question in your head and then answered that question instead.
Huh. Oh, that's interesting.
Just go in drunk.
Didn't
fine.
Didn't the creator of the he said that he spent the last 40 years trying to undo
it's basically the whole thing's a fucking scam.
Yeah.
Or it's just not reliable. Right. Yeah. Like it can be reliable, but then it often's not. So fuck it. Yeah. This is an interesting one that I almost threw into news, but it doesn't seem like it's quite there yet. Steven writes in and says, "There's a rumor going around that David Brevik might be working on an unannounced Diablo title." Per this tweet, and then David Brevik, co-creator of Diablo,
I'm working on a Diablo title.
He tweeted this very recently. I don't have the date in front of me, but it was in the last week. His tweet says, "For 20 years, Diablo-like games have evolved and surprised us. I'm proud to be the advisor for the game that pushes this genre to new heights." And it's obviously an unannounced project.
I mean, he left the Marvel Heroes.
Yes. So Steven's got 2 questions, but this is the bulk of it. But this got me thinking about Torchlight and the MMO that Runic were talking about making, and Hob, their adventure game.
Yeah.
Question 1, what's up with Runic Games? I feel like I've heard next to nothing about Hob since it was announced, and it seems like Rebel Galaxy was successful, coming from the two other leads that departed and made or founded Double Damage Games. My other question is, what would you want out of a presumed Diablo 4, assuming that David Brevik is working on it? Jeff seemingly poured a ton of time into both Diablo 3 and Marvel Heroes. What if the minds that brought you both put 2 and 2 together and pushed the loot 'em up forward?
I wonder. Yeah, I just don't know. I can't really say what I would want out of another one of those games.
Yeah. I forgot that Brevik also was one of the leads on Hellgate.
Right.
Hellgate London.
Yeah.
So he worked on Hellgate London and Marvel Heroes. So he's been doing that type of game pretty much consistently for the last 25 years.
Yeah, I don't really know what I want to see out of the kind of action RPG or something. Hellgate London had problems, but I think that there was definitely some really cool stuff there, and that's why I keep looking at Borderlands and thinking like, you could make an amazing, more online focused Borderlands. And when you start to think about like, I think this is the direction that I always think they have to go for Borderlands is that you look at Destiny, you look at the Division, like those games aren't that different from some of that stuff. Even
they're just way more online.
Or
somewhat more online.
But they're no more MMOs than anything else.
Sure.
So it's just kind of, I don't know. All that stuff has gotten so muddy, loot shooters and all this other stuff, that I think that there's still room in the shooter genre to bring some of those mechanics over.
Yeah.
And that's what I look at when I think about the true potential of Borderlands. I think about that, and I always have. But I don't know that I would necessarily want him to go make a first-person shooter.
Sure.
And I don't think a Diablo game would lend itself well to that if it ended up being Diablo.
No. There's a huge amount of speculation about BlizzCon now, like based on. So he tweeted, I think, a picture along with this. Where did I pull this story from?
I feel like there's been like Diablo BlizzCon
in front of the Blizzard offices.
I mean, it's absurd at this point. Like I think I pulled this off of Shack News or somewhere. This news story, but like it's to the point of like people are looking at the swag and the goodie bag for BlizzCon coming up and looking at like the numbers on a set of dice that are in there that people think now leads to Diablo 4 because there's a prominent 4 on there, and like I think he tweeted, where is it? Brevik recently tweeted a picture of the Libra constellation, and people are finding ways to link up like the meaning of Libra in astrology. Libra covers October 16th through November 15th.
He also evidently tweeted
latter dates again covering BlizzCon.
There has been a lot of speculation and hope, but I'm not currently working on the Diablo franchise.
Oh, wow.
Currently, we're in the future.
Thank you, Drew.
Okay.
Hashtag sorry. Hashtag much love.
Okay.
Thank you, chat.
All right. Well, there you go. He had founded like his own little game consultancy studio type thing, it looks like, after he left Gazillion.
But I think that that guy's been on some pretty iconic games in this space, so I would certainly be interested to see what he's up to.
Yeah. But I mean, Brevik
but
or
separately
not,
from that,
Brevik
it
or
seems
not,
like the Diablo stuff is
like Diablo 3
going around.
Sold like what, 30 million copies or something like that?
Something.
Did they say?
Did well on console.
Like, it did super well on console. Like it would be insane if they were not making another Diablo right now. Whether it gets announced at BlizzCon though.
What else do they have?
I don't know. That's the thing. BlizzCon is like 2 weeks away.
Yeah, I mean, there's still hot on the heels of a WoW
expansion.
WoW expansion,
so
Overwatch.
They wouldn't have that. They'll certainly have new Overwatch stuff. Almost certainly have new HOTS stuff.
Yeah, there's that StarCraft HD thing was rumored.
Yeah.
Oh,
a few months ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if that
some more Overwatch characters and skins or whatever.
Right.
And then I guess there are Halloween things happening.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah. Next couple weeks.
Yeah, I don't know if I see a Diablo 4 emerging and all that. Like, that kind of sounds like enough stuff for a BlizzCon already.
If it is, it'd be like a logo.
Right. It's like, hey, we're making it.
No, I don't think that's enough stuff for a BlizzCon right now.
No?
Because I think there's no WoW stuff to talk about.
Because
they just put that stuff out. Like, there's new Overwatch stuff, but not like, it's new characters. That'll be cool, but that's not, you don't carry all of BlizzCon on that, right? I mean,
what's the Battle.net replacement going to be?
Blizzard.
I don't think it's just a rename.
Yeah.
It's not really, they're not changing anything other than the branding.
Yeah.
Anything surrounding that?
Maybe.
think they're just naming it Blizzard to better unify around their actual name instead of the other.
I mean, they have been
much
adding
better.
Yeah, they've been
sounding.
adding features.
They've
to
been
that,
adding
like
streaming
streaming
stuff to
right.
that thing.
Yeah,
but
I don't know.
I don't know what else they do. Maybe it's just.
New
I mean,
rock and roll racing.
I think they.
Blackthorn.
Don't fucking tease me like that, man.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like they've had quiet years at BlizzCon, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
They don't like.
I think they should actually just put out Warcraft Adventures for free.
Oh, that would be really
like stop people from trading and
getting that
this like
bootleg version,
weird version, and just go like, all right, fine.
Like here's the version we actually finished.
Yeah, here it is. Here's what we got.
Yeah,
or we cleaned it up and put it out. Next year, StarCraft Ghost.
All right. Okay. Sure. Marcos writes in from Brazil. The recent flash sale on the PlayStation Store brought my attention to the games Ride, Motorcycle Club, and MotoGP 2014.
Huh.
I love motorcycles and use one for my daily commute, but my last interaction with a bike game was Road Rash 3D on the PS1.
Ooh.
I've tried the Trials Fusion demo on the PS4, but it really didn't click for me.
It's just not the same.
A different thing.
Yeah.
Really,
What do you guys think about these games, and which one should I get?
All fucking boring as hell.
Really?
I think motorcycle racing games are the worst. I
Like
just
conceptually, or just like where they're
I just
at?
don't think that. I don't think they've ever been great. I mean, some of the off-road stuff, like MX versus ATV, some of the stuff has been okay. But
Did Pure have bikes, or was it just ATVs?
I think it was just four-wheel.
Yeah.
But I just street bikes and street bike racing and stuff like that. I just think it just becomes a driving game. If they're doing it right, you've got like front and rear brakes.
Yeah.
And the physics of that.
What did he say about MotoGP?
He wasn't familiar with any of these.
Okay.
I just I don't care enough about that stuff to know myself. But.
The last MotoGP game I played was in the other San Francisco basement office. We did a quick look of it, and those games are nuts because they do have the front and back brakes.
Right.
And it's like being a drummer with the kinds of things that you are constantly controlling. So if that sounds fun to you, it's kind of like a flight sim, but for motorcycles. They're completely different from anything else.
I think Ride 2 just came out or is out this year.
Yeah.
So Ride 1 was on sale as part of this flash sale.
Not
but
play Ride 1.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of it. Hang on.
Now you're talking.
That's a good motorcycle game.
Yeah.
Road Rash?
There's that virtual BART minigame in the Mad Max universe.
I don't know that I ever thought that Road Rash was especially great.
Oh.
Good to hear.
It's pretty good. More conceptually than gameplay
conceptually
wise,
amazing, but the way it actually played, it was always just a little too fucked up.
Who owns that at this point?
EA.
EA still has it?
Yeah.
Okay. What was the last one?
It's a Pacific Power and Light game for N64, I think.
All right.
We should get a 4 Extreme.
Yeah. VR, though.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
the
the
luge.
luge.
Yeah.
Let's see. Joe writes in. Says, want to give you guys a big thank you for putting on a great show weekly. Not being a huge fan of flying, I embarked on the ridiculous adventure of driving from Omaha, Nebraska to Orlando, Florida. Just wanted to say your 3-hour shows make 240 miles of the 1,400-mile journey quite enjoyable.
I was going to say, it's longer than that, isn't it?
Even my fiance, who has no interest in gaming whatsoever, chuckles every now and again. My question is, what are the most extreme road trips the Bombcast crew has embarked on?
I've done 2 big ones. I went from Minnesota to New Orleans.
Okay.
And then from Minnesota to here when I moved out here.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, same here. I've taken several from like Minneapolis down to like Atlanta as well, kind of driving back and forth through there. Yeah, because when I first moved to Minneapolis, my wife was still back in Atlanta.
Ooh.
So we were trying to sell the house and stuff. Yeah. So like on weekends and stuff, I would sometimes drive down there.
Wow, how long is that?
I missed her, man. I want to say like 12, 16 hours. I forget, but
wow.
Yeah, I would do that in like just one stretch.
That's intense, man.
Yeah, those are pretty intense. So satellite radio is great, man.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's super helpful at that point.
Yeah, for me, it's nothing that awesome. It's just been like drive to LA and then immediately drive back.
Yeah.
So it's like do the 6.5, 7 hours and then be like, all right, let's go.
I really love like long ass road trips like that. Like, flipping on the satellite radio, and I'd love stopping at truck stops, like buying kitschy shit and just like getting so much beef jerky.
At truck stops.
Hell yeah.
Just looking at CB radio parts and fucking dudes that are there to take a shower, and then I'm just looking at all these books on tape and just going like, these are all awful.
Jason is one of the most foremost experts on beef jerky gas station beef jerky.
Yeah.
And cheese sticks and things. You've introduced me to some pretty good things.
Yeah, you can get some good eats at gas stations for sure. You just got to know what to look for.
I am a fan of the gas station hot dog.
On the rollers.
Yeah,
I'm a taquito guy.
Taquitos are
sometimes they
fine as
call
well.
them like tornado things or whatever.
No,
but,
no, those are way different. Yeah,
Tornadoes are
you like the QT, the Quick Trip.
Those are the best, but they
Those
have
are
them at like
absolutely the
7-Elevens and
best.
stuff. Like 7-Eleven has their
Those are
own.
But those are different.
They're
Those
good.
are not
Those are
tornadoes.
not-
Those are tornadoes.
It doesn't have the same name.
Longer?
No, the Tornadoes is
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tornadoes.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they've got a thicker like a grilled shell.
Okay.
It's a little more chewy,
Right.
and it's not as long. It's no fucking taquito from QT.
The QT, that is the best. And QT also has the cheeseburgers that are shaped like hot dogs, which are great. It's just the shape of a hot dog with the meat, the beef, and the cheese all just cooked into that. And you put it on a bun, and it's like eating a hot dog cheeseburger. It's great.
And then they made chili cheese ones like that too, which are equally as good.
Cheese inside the meat usually doesn't work out for me.
Oh, it's my favorite.
They sold those hot dogs, the Oscar Mayer, that just like had
they're
cheese
incredible.
in the middle.
The little dots of cheese,
no,
those are my absolute favorites.
Once
never
upon a
enough
time, they had the
for-
Oscar Mayer ones with chili in the middle.
Yeah, I think
those
I might
were
have had
all
one of
right.
those once.
Those were okay. I like gas stations.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Yeah, I am.
You ever get soft sticks? The soft pretzels that you microwave and they've got a bunch of cheese inside?
No.
Oh,
I have a thing with like weird like microwaved nacho cheese. Like I don't know. I had some bad craft experiences. We used to live across. Well, we didn't live. A friend of mine actually lived across the street from like a craft processing plant where they make like the dust for the. No, Dan, that stuff smells like vomit. The dust itself.
Yeah.
Get a whiff of that.
I need a
sometime.
spoonful of that.
Would you?
Disgusting.
Yeah, bring it in here. I will happily eat a spoonful of it.
Yes, he would. I can.
That dust
I would dip it in nacho
saturated
cheese
the
first.
Speak
air.
for my client here. Yes, he definitely would do that. Yeah.
So yeah, the entire surrounding area smelled like vomit.
Cheese.
Yeah. Oh, gross.
Good stuff. Let's do 2 or 3 more emails. Steve from Austin, Texas. Is it just me, or is the whole Oculus Rift versus Vive versus PlayStation VR thing giving you flashbacks to the 3DFX Voodoo and Glide versus NVIDIA TNT wars of the late 90s? I can kind of see that.
Yeah, especially, I mean, the Rift Vive stuff, because it runs on the same platform and stuff like that, is like especially dumb.
Sure.
But sure enough, you see people fucking fanboying the fuck up around that stuff. It's just like, fuck off. What are you doing?
Fucking people choosing sides and going to war.
Yeah. Got to fucking ammo up. Did you see what this guy said? Fuck a Vive. Oh, yeah. High five me, man.
Oh, boy.
Rift, more like the Grift. All right.
Damn.
Yeah.
Succulus.
Uh-huh. Go on.
Yeah.
God, people get so attached to their purchases.
Did you see that shit? Titanfall disc getting posted to Twitter a couple weeks ago.
That was like one of the most egregious examples I have fucking ever seen of this idiotic tribal bullshit.
Someone from Respawn posted a picture of Titanfall 2, the first discs they got off the line, and it was a PS4 disc. And so, like, check this out, looks good.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of people going like, "Fuck you, man! This is an Xbox series." Like, what? Like going at him hard.
People just like Respawn would be nothing without the Xbox. Show some respect. Like
what the fuck is wrong with you? What the fucking fuck?
Maybe it's just the first disc they happened to get a hold of.
In fact, they got green discs that were not.
Oh, that's right. They came out and said, "Yeah, we've also got Xbox green discs, but those don't look great.
They're not stamped. They don't.
There's no branding on there
yet." Yeah. I take breaks from Twitter on the weekend. Like I actually,
that feels good.
I just put my
phone away. I don't really look at that stuff very much during the week even anymore. But yeah, it's just the dumbest shit that people get hung up on.
Yeah,
whatever.
It's gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be okay in the land of video games.
It's never been a better time. I'm told.
It's true. I guess with this headset stuff, to some extent, it's kind of like that old 3D accelerator stuff of like it's new and they're still trying to figure out the standards and like figure out what works.
Yeah.
So
I think that stuff is just frustrating because it's like VR is at it's the thing I realized coming out of the PlayStation VR launch is that VR is at its best when it is open and weird.
Oh yeah. No, I totally agree.
Closed system VR, the way the Rift Store tends to work by default, and the way PlayStation VR is way less interesting than the Wild West of broken shit that you can find on Steam.
Sure.
Or just download stuff. And, you can, a lot of that stuff is accessible on a Rift, but it seems like more of the insane developers that are making weird bullshit are making it for the Vive. And that stuff's just way more exciting because it's way more bleeding edge and crazy.
Yep.
But the other headsets also are fine, except for when PSVR seems to not work, which has been most of the time over here around these parts.
Do you guys use much cinema mode? No, not at all. I could get into could get into that. It doesn't bother me at all, and but I just noticed a lot of drift.
Yeah. I saw people talking about how you can plug it into other consoles and use it as a display for those.
I think you have to leave the USB plugged into a PS4 for handshaking or whatever. But yeah, you can just hijack the HDMI and plug in whatever.
I don't know why.
Yeah, it's. Just,
I like having that screen like right up in my face.
It's just the resolution
lose so much quality.
It's not there.
Yeah,
certain applications like I think it's fine, but certain games obviously not nearly as good.
And like I said, when we got that thing in here for the first time, I played some competitive Destiny.
Yeah.
In that thing, and
that
felt awful afterwards.
First thing I booted up, Street Fighter V.
Yeah.
It works just fine.
Yeah, I could see that being all right. All right, 2 more emails. Tim writes in about bugs in food. I'm a graduate student in chemical biology and have been an instructor for various science and food courses at some fairly prestigious universities. After hearing some hand-waving discussion about insect matter in food products, I've decided to step in with a link to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration's Defect Levels Handbook, which details in no uncertain terms the levels of contaminant, primarily insect parts and rodent hairs, beyond which action must be taken, which thus implies that any amount below these numbers is viewed as technically permissible. Some personal favorites include the previously discussed fig paste, which specifies acceptable levels of insect heads.
Heads acceptable.
The quote is, contains 13 or more insect heads per 100 grams of fig paste in each of 2 or more subsamples. Hops used for beer brewing, which have an average limit of 2,500 aphids per 10 grams.
Those are bugs.
Aphids are bugs.
And tomato puree, a common ingredient in pizza sauce, among many others, which specifies average of 20 or more fly eggs per 100 grams, or 10 or more fly eggs and 1 or more maggots per 100 grams, or 2 or more maggots per 100 grams.
Acceptable.
The list includes so many common ingredients and products that it is clearly silly to assume that almost any agricultural product will not have insect matter, mold, or animal excretions present to some degree.
Yeah, it's crazy. Dan, you got bugs crawling all over you right now.
You're eating them every day.
If I don't know, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Or if I can realistically convince myself that it's not real, it doesn't matter. So like you said that thing about beer.
Yeah.
And I can easily enough convince myself that like, hey, this beer is a liquid.
Oh, sure.
Bugs aren't liquid. Bugs are solid.
Well,
I can't drink a bug.
In the beer.
To be fair, most beer is filtered anyway, so it's not like the parts are getting in there.
Sure, yeah. In my head, beer is just this pure liquid. There's no bug. There's no heads floating around in there.
Think about when you're driving cross country.
Okay.
Think about those splatters on your windshield.
Yeah.
That's some liquid in there. Some liquid in there.
They don't look like beer.
You mix it with enough beer, it'll look just like beer.
It's true.
Squeegee it off.
I'm sure there's a process they go through.
Very true.
I've been to the Anheuser-Busch factory.
Yeah, they've got really good strainers there.
Yeah, they have the beer go through like a screen door.
Yeah.
And then on the other end is a bucket.
If it grabs the bug stuff.
Yeah. It does.
He goes on.
You're fine.
He goes on. He goes on to point out. I'll paraphrase that. Like, just because the limits are that doesn't mean that the averages are that.
Right.
Like the averages of these things are actually much lower than the limits.
These are the outliers here.
But it could be up to that.
And still be okay.
And the FDA is cool with it.
Yeah.
So
it's just like when people
you're
say
going
like
Piggly Wiggly and getting some gigantic cans of beef stew or something. You never know what's going to end up.
You guys got Piggly Wigglies up here?
No, but I went to a grocery outlet and found some Piggly Wiggly goods there.
Oh, gotcha.
Would they have the house brand?
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because it was dented cans and other stuff that they couldn't sell at a proper Piggly Wiggly.
But it's branded Piggly Wiggly?
Yeah.
Wow. Did you guys have those in the ATL?
No, I don't think
where
so
is that
down
from?
there.
Like, where is Piggly Wiggly
Midwest
from? Oh, really?
Me,
Okay.
Yeah, but I think they went away in a
Wisconsin.
lot of places because I remember as a real young kid seeing Piggly Wiggly in Kansas, but in like high school and stuff.
We just bought it because we had heard of Piggly Wiggly and thought it was hilarious, and it's this giant can of some kind of like SpaghettiO knockoff.
Okay.
And it's been sitting in my cupboard for probably a decade now.
Okay.
Man. Those go bad. I had
I think they were bad when we got them. Yeah,
probably.
Because we bought them at the grocery outlet.
I had a can of Sonicos that I had for probably like 5 years. Opened it up and it was just fucking green and nasty. Something got inside of there.
Super Sonico?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like an emerald. Chaos Emerald.
I have some Lifesavers that are from Sonic the Hedgehog 3's release.
Nice.
Wow. Still sealed.
Nice.
And I thought about busting those open. It's like blue raspberry or something.
Oh, but they're just goo at this point.
Yeah.
I have a pack of military rations that Nintendo sent to me in like 2005 or whatever for reviewing it was a promotional item for the Advance Wars.
Yeah. Those should still be good.
DS.
Should bring that in and eat it.
I think I've got some.
I mean, I do have it. Do you
Bring it
think if it would be good? It's just been sitting in my closet forever. I think it's some kind of like pasta and peas or something.
The whole point is it's supposed to last. So
Yeah. I've got some candied bugs from like an Earth Defense Force promotion.
Yes.
Right. I ate some of
want
those.
those? You
I
did?
ate some of those crickets. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Were they good?
They were fine.
They're just a little crunchy.
Yeah.
last email. It's from Adam. What's up with Birdo? Where Birdo at?
Birdo was in Color Splash.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
She comes down. I don't know what the reference is, but you've always seen like in plays or whatever, like somebody coming down sitting on a moon, like on a crescent moon.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Birdo does, and you play with like a certain thing card.
Okay.
And she'll come down and
All
you
right.
do a little
That's
thing.
that's a good pull.
Yeah. I don't know where that originated. That
Mm.
whole thing.
I don't either.
I would buy a Birdo amiibo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to have one of those. That'd
Yeah.
be cool.
Sure.
Shoots eggs.
Birdo deserves a little more
Oh,
exposure.
that'd be great. A little
Mhm.
like put the egg in, then there's a little slot on the back or something. You flip it down, it spits the egg out. That'd be
That's still one of my favorite Mario shortcuts is in 2 when it spits the egg and you just kind of like,
Yeah.
I'm
Ride
just
the
going to go
egg,
across
just
this
go fuck it.
ocean
Yeah.
on an egg. Yeah.
Is it just me, or does it feel like they've gotten a little more bold with like Mario 2 references?
Oh,
recently?
yeah.
Like, I know there's
in fact, they directly say Doki Doki Panic and Paper Mario
Right.
Color Splash.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't
And
they-
it's, Shy Guys and Sniffits and...
Didn't you say they mentioned Wart at one point?
Yeah. One of the Toads says he like woke up from a nightmare and there was some guy named Wart taking over the Prism Island or whatever.
They should do more stuff with Mario 2.
It's an incredible game.
Or not even just the game, but like the stuff.
Yeah.
The characters,
they
the
have
setting,
most of
like
them.
something.
We need to get more Fry Guy. He is a flame with sunglasses.
Mhm. Yep. He's hot.
There is Mouser. He's great.
Also,
He's a mouse
good.
that throws bombs.
does he also wear sunglasses?
Also probably wearing
think so.
sunglasses,
I
I
believe
think.
so. Yeah.
Who else was there?
Triclyde.
Triclyde, yeah, the snake.
Yeah.
These are good names.
I know.
Triclyde.
Triclyde.
Fry Guy.
How about the guys on Magic Carpets? What are they called?
Oh.
Ooh,
The birds?
Aren't they? They're Sniffits a lot, aren't they? The guys
they?
that shoot. They have
Maybe?
like they're kind of
No,
shy
they're
guys.
not- those are not sniffits.
Are not.
No.
Oh, they're like the little they're birds and they're
Little-
staring straight
yeah, staring
ahead,
straight ahead,
and they just
yeah.
kind of they don't really have arms or anything. What are those guys called? I used to know this.
It's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Fanto, anybody?
Nope, I'm fine. You can leave Fanto dead.
The whole Fanto
Leave
game.
No,
Yeah.
wait,
Now you
if
are
you're
the
okay,
Fanto.
if I can be Fanto and just terrorize people, then yes.
Ooh, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Fucking sadist.
You'd be an asshole in Westworld, wouldn't you?
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
They should do more with Birdo.
Or yeah,
And
you're right.
everything else from Mario 2.
Yeah,
It's just sitting there.
it's such a great game.
It's so good.
Man,
I would play a
Where's
Birdo
where's
game.
the Urban Champions sequel that I demanded? Also, while we're at it, come on.
Also that. Bombcast at giantbomb.com. That's it for emails.
the boss of the game has an organ that shoots out vegetables, and you kill him by feeding him vegetables.
Does he have an organ? Oh, yeah, he does.
That's
It's
how
like
you
a
kill
pipe
Ward,
organ, right?
Yeah, and like all these like squashes and stuff are
Right,
flying
that's where
out.
the vegetables come from.
Yeah, and he hates vegetables so much
You
that
have
you
to
kill him
force feed
by
him
force
vegetables.
feeding him veggies.
Man, that's so great.
It is a good game.
That's better than knocking a dude in the lava.
That's
off
also
the bridge.
pretty
I
cool.
mean, that's not
but-
bad.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
all right. Well, I guess we're done here.
Yeah.
Or are we?
You decide.
I don't know.
Yes.
No,
Everybody starts
yeah.
giving this 2,000-yard stare
All right.
around 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
After
Drew has decided. We're done.
after 3.5 hours in this room. We're good?
Yep.
You'll
Yep.
Send us out.
Goodbye.
Get the hell out of here.
All right.
Drew, throw the switch. See you next week.
Bye.